You're listening to Well, I Laughed, Part 2 of Sickening, Bitter Pill.
I don't know if this is what I want to start off at the top of the show with.
That's okay.
Because I just feel like I have so many things I want to tell you. But I found out today in class that my students think the messages I send are catty and sarcastic. I'm projecting the word catty. But
I was going to say, I mean, yeah, I would describe them as catty and sarcastic.
Like sarcastic and maybe a touch passive aggressive or things like that.
Huh?
And I'm like, what? I literally have to go back and edit out some of the exclamation points.
I'm so excited.
Yes. Also, I think it's clear now that when I'm disappointed, I'd much rather deliver that news in person.
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Where the fuck is my husband? Oh, he's still at work. I was going to text him because he had said that he would be home at 6:30. And I was like, okay, I'm recording. But...
You're like, oh, okay, well, whatever.
Well, you're not here, so it doesn't matter. I should probably at least tell him that I'm recording.
Okay. As you do that, I, listener, visited my family back in Lincoln, Nebraska this last weekend. That's fun. Loads of great stories to share tonight on Main and Patreon. But first, it's always so funny to me when I find people who I know in my life are still listening to us. Because, again, I know we've talked about this, but it was like this moment where like over 1 month, essentially a couple summers ago, we got like a bigger, I mean, a relatively nice sized following. Yeah. And that meant all of our friends stopped like,
they were like, oh,
obligated listening to us. And then a handful of those people still hung around because they like our stories and stuff. But, you know, we produce quite a bit of content every week. And so to find people are still like listening to us in our lives. So like found out my mom's still listening, couple episodes behind, but shout out Teresa.
Damn.
And then ran into this woman that I grew up with because both of our younger brothers did sports together. And so I think that makes her a cousin.
I think so.
Anyways, I won't do last names, but shout out Allison. It was great to see you last Saturday. And thank you for listening. That's really, really kind of you.
That's so fun. Yeah. When I went to the Sammy's wedding like a year ago now.
All right.
There was a couple high school friends that were like, love the show. And I was like, well, it was like, that's kind. And also, ooh.
I don't always give a good review of that area
and
of my life.
And I was like, you know two different versions of me. I don't know what to tell you.
And that's on the fact that we really are here but for a moment, you know?
But for a moment, yeah. I have one story.
Okay, so to wrap that up real quick, I was like, oh my gosh, it's so kind, Allison. Like, you don't need to listen. Like, but like, that's really good. She goes, no, I really enjoy the catch up. And I go, that's so funny. That's a very polarizing part of the episode. We have some who are diehard fans of the catch up and some who
hate it.
Need
I find
to be able to
it's
skip.
Our friends that kind of enjoy the catch up. It's either, actually, no, that's one or the other. I have some friends that only listen to the catch up.
That's funny. Just to find out if they're getting covered.
Or like what's going on.
Right. So that's funny too. Sorry. Oh, they're like, oh, I should check the group chat. They're talking about this right now. She was like, yeah, no, it's great to hear the catch up. But like, also like, you know, like I have a commute in the morning. So it's like nice to listen to the commute. So I go, oh gosh, yeah, we're huge. We're huge with two demographics. People who literally can't get out of the car and no one talks to me at work. Those two demographics, massive for us.
How do we target that?
Yeah. How do we monetize it? No, I'm totally
Because it's all people that don't want to interact with other people. Hi, we love you.
Go ahead. What did you have to say?
Oh, so I have a friend that got broken up with recently.
Yes.
I believe. I don't remember if I shared it on Patreon or on the main episode 2 weeks ago.
I think we nicknamed this person Ashley.
Maybe. I don't know. Whatever. Either way, this person, and listener, you might be able to put together some pieces if you've been listening for a while, because I've told a similar story before. This person and the partner had kind of broken up or kind of agreed to stop seeing each other pretty early on in their relationship and then come back to it because like the guy was just kind of like not even really trying, and she was like, that's bullshit, like at least give it something, you know? And in that moment when he had initially said like, nah, she said, I hope you come crawling back on your hands and knees.
Wow.
And he did. And they got together. They got back together.
Woman.
And then they just broke up, like for real, after being together for a good amount of time. And she was really like, it kind of took her by surprise. It came out of the blue. And she said to him, "Get help." And
well,
I don't have any notes. I think that sums it up pretty well.
That's a powerful like last word, last thing to end on.
Yeah.
I love that.
I know. Fucking incredible.
I'm trying to think of, I have said, listen, it's weird segue.
Yeah.
It's crash out season in my classroom right now, which is
just in general.
And I don't know why they feel safe and supported in my classroom.
You should stop doing that.
I've tinkered. I've really tried. Like over the last couple of days, if my room is empty, suddenly no, it's not, right? And it's a lot of children like who sit down.
Oh no.
And I'm like, okay, gonna go ahead and have closed my computer. I can just get to the immense amount of work I have to do later. And I just like listen for 30 seconds. And it's like, I'm stupid, fat, and ugly. My stupid, fat, and ugly teachers don't get me. Everything is bad. And my lunch sucked. Has been like the exact crash out. And I've kind of ended all of it with like, this is new for you, but like not new for young people. So like, you're not weird at all. And you'll probably survive, but you can feel sad. But I'm going to send you back to class now.
They left class and came to you?
And many times they never went.
I can't really blame them, you know?
And then when they go, oh, Thomas, and I go, as a teacher, famously, I'm pro going to class. So I don't know what answer you thought
I would give.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not your friend.
No.
No, you know what we really need to talk about?
The list is too long for me to guess.
The heist.
Oh my God, yes.
The heist at the Louvre.
I can only imagine how big this has been in your world. And before we say anything else, at one point, I do need you to tell me when and how you cracked the case before the police. Because I'm so sure you've been on it.
I've been kind of waiting to finish this story
Good.
And honestly probably my next story before I really get into it because I can't afford that kind of I need to be on my 3-week sabbatical between my stories.
Me with charcuterie. No, wait till Friday.
Yeah, that's literally what I keep getting there's a lot of memes and stuff about it. There's one of the creative director of the Louvre heist and was like, we've seen things with magic and guns and all of this, and we've done this before.
He's just summarizing the plot of Now You See Me.
Yeah. There's people that were speculating that this is all just an ad for the upcoming Now You See Me film. And honestly, if it is, props. I don't think it will be. But
unfortunately, the jewels were not props.
Yeah. The Halloween costumes from this heist are going to be fucking incredible.
I'm going to say something to you. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you're going to... I don't know if you're part of this. I don't know if anyone else but me in the universe is part of this. It's on my For You page.
Okay. It's probably just you then.
Almost assuredly. My For You page is a lot of Louvre heist content. Mm-hmm. And then it's also a lot of people making fun of it or dressing up that way or dressing up as a detective. Yeah. A handful of videos of Candace from Portlandia because I'm thinking about going for her Halloween. Mm-hmm. And then there's this one white British boy who keeps pretending to be Princess Diana. But if she was from Jamaica... Are you familiar?
Every identity that you prescribed to this man was a shock.
He basically says famous Princess Diana lines from her interview and stuff, but kind of with her voice. But if Princess Diana had grown up in Jamaica, come to find out, white boy had grown up in Jamaica himself, and that's why it kind of comes. But he is
so
British.
It's easier to
right.
Okay.
It's actually deeply within his wheelhouse. But between that and recreations of the Louvre heist, very interesting time on my For You page, especially if you're a European. That's
so fair.
I don't know if that applies to anyone other than me, but I've
been getting a lot of Louvre content. I just I got some new tasks at work.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it's actually turning into a problem where I can't do my silly little hobbies sometimes when it's a break.
By that she means form a romantic relationship with the chair propped up against a trailer.
I have to make time for the chair now. It's actually shocking.
My biggest fear with any relationship. Yeah. I don't think I'm willing to make that sacrifice yet.
It's actually it's really good for me. I go out and sit at the chair and I'm great, I'm not looking at a computer screen. Now I'm going to look at my smaller screen and dissociate for 10 minutes.
I'm like, please, someone let me look at my computer screen. I really have work to do.
I don't stop looking at my computer screen so much so that I have had to stop wearing contacts to work because my eyes dry out and my like glasses have like the blue light filter on them. And then one of the so the thing I'm working on for work is like a thing that's it should have been done like 3 months ago, and I got put on it because it was so far behind, and it's spreadsheet adjacent, so your girl's in.
Right.
And and one of my coworkers that I share an office with was like, "You're gonna burn yourself out," and I was like, "Do I have a choice?" Yes, I did have a choice. I could have at least gotten up to like eat, during the day. But my brain is like spreadsheet, spreadsheet, spreadsheet. Don't stop spreadsheet until spreadsheet done. Spreadsheet, spreadsheet, spreadsheet.
It feels very much like hamster digging tunnel. Like I must move this.
Like I will literally be sitting at my computer, looking at the screen, and I have two like office mates, right? And there's one right here and one behind me, and they'll talk to me and I will carry on full conversations like locked in with this spreadsheet. And I think it's getting to them.
Yeah, I think it's gotten to you.
Oh, 100%.
When we're off air, because it's not great content for anyone other than you and I am going to show you some of the mini spreadsheets that now run my life at work.
I can make them better.
I'm sure you can. I don't want that, okay?
I can make them better.
It's like getting a Mercedes and only driving it in school zones. Dangerous for everybody.
No notes.
Speaking of dangerous for everybody, I went back to Nebraska this weekend. Hence why I now own jeans. So
it is shocking.
I famously have hated jeans for a really long time. And then I don't know if this generation has just demanded Old Navy and Gap produce comfier jeans, or if the fact that the look right now is like looser denim.
It is really nice.
And it's definitely a witch's brew of all three of these things. Yeah. The third thing being, last time I was really actively wearing jeans, I was a husky child in middle school. And
wearing stuff that were too small for you?
Correct. Yeah. Because I could make my family proud if I could just get to one size smaller.
And it doesn't help because you're like actively growing as a human.
Right.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Some of that got kind of drawn into the cement and then it dried. But I am still, some of it didn't. We're working on it.
Such a good analogy.
Anyways, they're like crazy comfortable. So anyways,
they can be.
I was wearing jeans in Nebraska this weekend. Huge for me. Here are two incredible conversations I had with my family.
Okay.
Specifically my sister. And I know it's new for you. I mean, not new for you, because I immediately texted it to you.
Yes.
Did I?
You texted me that you had stories.
Oh, I didn't tell you any of the stories?
You did not tell me the stories.
Good. So then I texted him to Jacob and Lydia because I knew I was going to see you sooner, and I needed it to have a written record somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. I fly in Thursday. It's great. Like Thursday evening, I get like dinner with my parents, but it's like Culver's late at night because I get in super late, whatever. Friday, I wake up, so many emails. Like I know that's not a fun thing to talk about, but so many emails. And then it all gets kind of like, I knock them out. There's a Nebraska volleyball game at 6 p.m. And we have somehow managed to get 6 tickets to it. It's a hot ticket item in town. I don't think you understand. And
I don't.
So my parents take me, and then we drive up to my sister's place, and we pick my sister up. And then we're driving from my sister's place to my brother, because even though he like now lives out of state, his company has an office in town. And he was kind of making this a, quote, work trip, and then they paid for the tickets. So
nice.
Genius.
I love that for him.
So this happens between my sister's house and my brother's work.
Okay.
Me looking at the state capitol building. Whoa, look at all those pigeons. All of those pigeons up there. They're like grouped together in a line and only on that one ledge. There's like 40 of them. That's like a crazy amount of pigeons. I did have some whiskey before we got in the car.
Could have never guessed.
Right,
I was like, that's not something Grant says normally.
My sister goes, gosh, every time I see pigeons, I think of my neighbor who ate them at the last apartment I was at.
No, what? What?
Right, exactly. And so I say almost like that exactly.
Yeah.
And then my sister goes, yeah, haven't I told you that story? That's why I can't eat Prego pasta sauce anymore. And I go, what? And she goes, yeah, he would eat pigeons with Prego pasta sauce. And because I was kind of the building super, like kind of like semi-informal, when he moved out, I was sent in to help clean it. And I had to clean like 12 to 15 pigeon carcasses from underneath his clawfoot tub. And then we pulled into the parking lot to pick my brother up.
Sorry, why was he storing pigeon carcasses underneath his clawfoot tub?
Well, I don't think you can buy them at the store. So I think you kind of kill them and store them and then eat them when you're hungry.
Under your bathtub?
No, you're right. How he was storing the street pigeons he was eating was the main issue. Was the main issue
like
to
food
that
safety,
story.
at least you're like putting them in a sous vide for some reason. Like, but just right outside? Like...
Not you giving it a French word. Maia, it was poverty. I don't know what Maia, he was eating street bird. Like, I don't know. Lincoln, Nebraska does not have a street food culture. Not in that way.
I hear it now. I hear what I said. The Louvre has really gotten to me. Where are my jewels?
Listen, just a little bit of wine's in me because I now feel compelled to be like, and for those of us struggling financially, I in no way mean to insinuate that you eat pigeons. I just mean this man did, and he was definitely struggling financially.
I have nothing to add.
The tough thing is, I want to be like, well, Allie, like you're not missing out on much. Like Prego pasta sauce is not good. But
it is true.
That feels like such a minor note. And then later on, so it's my brother, sister, and I, my parents, were at the volleyball arena because Lincoln, Nebraska has its own volleyball arena. And
isn't this the one where it's like the building is named something and then the court is named something and then like...
Yeah, we're at the Bob Devaney Sports Center, specifically at the John Cook Arena to watch Nebraska volleyball play on the Terry Pettit court. Like, I don't know what else
bizarre.
You could possibly want.
No, it doesn't make
sense.
At
least two of those three people were volleyball coaches. Like, we do respect the lineage.
At least two. Oh, you know what?
The third one was, okay. So anyways, we're there. Immediate family. We've shown up. My dear, dear, sweet sister-in-law is coming down with her family, and they got like standing room tickets elsewhere. Okay. So she's just trying to help them find out where they're sitting, and then she's going to sit with my brother, her husband, and then my sister and I. My parents are in a third location, whatever.
Okay.
They're stressed, they as in my sister-in-law's family, because they're trying to figure out like where to stand, right?
Okay.
Meanwhile, across the arena, the Thomas children are finding out that this arena will sell you 2 beers at once, so you don't have to get up. So we are now faced with the impossible task of how do you get each person to hold 1 box of popcorn, a steaming hot runza, and two open
beers.
Cans of beer, and then get your seats. Let me tell you, I had a great weekend.
I wish I'm imagining like a little carrier. Yeah, a little carrier.
It's so funny too. They're like, well, we don't want you taking these beers out of the arena. So the only way to be responsible is if we open them both of them right now.
I wish that you could like tell them just to crack one.
Or do what they do down in Louisiana. Open them both, but then give me some tape.
Did you see we got so many comments that were like, yeah, they do that. It's like, that's not what we wanted to hear.
Yeah. So more Nebraska stories to come, I'm sure, but that'll be it for right now.
I have one final story.
Great.
I went grocery shopping and it was a disaster. Just kidding. It wasn't that bad, but it did feel like purgatory in like a really bad way. It was Thursday, I believe, and I couldn't find feta, which was driving me fucking insane. So I was just like walking along the like back wall of all the dairy I found dairy-free feta. You're telling me
it's in the deli. I'm sorry, but it's objectively.
I looked in the deli.
Okay. Then maybe it's not.
I feel like I usually find it in the cheese section. I'm going to kill somebody. Anyway.
Hold on. Did you go to the Mexican cheese section?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's where I found the dairy-free feta.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I usually find paneer in the deli section. Continue.
Where is it? Anyway, so I'm there. I'm like pacing. I'm not actually there for that long, but it feels like forever because it's the grocery store, right? So it was maybe like tops like 5 to 10 minutes. Anyway, while I'm at the grocery store for a total of like 20 minutes, I hear the same announcement come on the like overhead speaker. And it's this like older-ish woman, I think, working in the deli. And she goes, sweet deal Thursday. $6. You can get a rotisserie chicken and a free 6-pack of mini Pepsi. Come on down.
Wait, what's the deal though? What's the deal again?
A rotisserie chicken.
Sure.
And it comes with a free 6-pack of mini Pepsi.
Well, how much is that deal?
$6.
That's a crazy good deal.
$6
I
is
hope you cashed out.
$6 is a good deal for the rotisserie
I'm
chicken.
putting 20 on the house right now.
Go down to your local King Soopers on a Thursday.
Yeah, that's the tough thing. As soon as you said $6, I knew it was King Soopers, and I knew it was
100%.
Thursday because I'm in my season of savings.
Did you also get a 6-pack of Pepsi for free?
No, that's why I'm telling you it's a great. Normally, it's just the rotisserie chicken for $6.
It just felt so sad. I don't know. And I heard it, like, I swear to God, 5 times while I was there. And I was like, someone give this lady a break. Like,
I worked at a grocery store in high school for like almost 3 years.
Super Saver or something?
Yep, Super Saver in Lincoln, Nebraska for your super savings. We had a saying, I'm sure we did. There were a whole bunch of codes to alert the grocery store employees about different things happening in the store.
Right.
So it would be like box removal, aisle 4. And it would be like human trafficking. They'd be like, we need a mop in aisle 6. And it would be like someone stealing, right? And A, too many codes for me to remember.
Yeah.
B, I make minimum wage.
You think I'm going to remember this code?
I was there for 6 months, and you gave me at that 6-month mark a 15-cent an hour raise.
No.
I'm certainly not about to go confront a human trafficker or someone shoplifting. Because if I confront the person shoplifting, I might accidentally reveal my own shoplifting. No, I'm kidding.
Spider-Man playing it himself.
I was working on my Eagle Scout merit badge at the time, but like spiritually now, I'm taking those Reese's Pieces. I earned this. I've told you that. They were like, did you know if one person steals a box of M&Ms, we'll have to sell 89 boxes of M&Ms just to recoup the loss.
That's just like not how numbers work.
I also just remember thinking like horrific margins on the M&Ms.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Why are we selling those?
If that's true, lock those babies up like
also,
the deodorant nowadays.
I'm not gonna jump in front of the bullet that this anti-union PSA is making me watch.
No.
So, anyways,
Absolutely not.
Hey, listener, just so you know, I haven't seen Maia in a second because of traveling and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if we feel scattered, it's just because we're like,
it's because we are
soaking in the presence of each other.
I had a bit of a depressy episode, and so I was like, I'm not doing this right now. With love. Anyway. You ready for a story?
Yes, I keep adding more things to talk about in Patreon.
Incredible. I'm considering door dashing a Subway. I don't know what. Something hit me.
I think you're coming out of it. I think you're on the other side of it.
I think it might be looking up. It's looking up.
All right.
Okay.
I'm locked in.
Listener, today's story is not a haha silly funny story. Like, I'm sure Grant and I will find silly little haha moments. But when I started this story, was like, there has to be some quirky, funny character that I can just really latch on to. And there are things that people do that a quirky, funny character would do. All I'm saying is don't root for anyone.
No Ron Dante in this
No Ron
conversation.
Dante.
Okay, that's tough.
Yeah, no silly little guys, unfortunately. This is going to be a bit of a heavier one, maybe. TBD. I never know how these are going to go.
I labeled Dr. Ruth as a, quote, funny episode, so I hear it.
Yeah, that was actually so fucked up of you. I've never cried that hard.
My bad.
As a reminder, the theme is sickening. And trigger warnings, yes.
Okay.
We're not going to talk about like gore or anything like that. There will be a number of deaths. One of those deaths, we will talk about the body after the fact, but not like in great detail. There will be the death of a child, and then there will also be the brief mention of a rape.
Okay.
And I will do my best to warn you guys before that happens. This first section's... we're just going to start. James Lewis was born August 8th, 1946 in Memphis, Tennessee. He was the youngest of 4, and he was born to Opal and Theodore Wilson. Not 100% sure on the timeline, but at some point his father abandons the family, and so I think kind of as a response to that, his mother abandons all 4 children at a motel in Joplin, Missouri. And after that, I believe James is taken in by like Child Protective Services or something, and I think they're all adopted out. I don't know that he ever reconnects with his siblings, but he is adopted by Floyd and Charlotte Lewis, and he is raised as an only child in Missouri. He will attend University of Missouri, where he would meet his future wife. I'm not sure. I think it was at university. I could be wrong. There are a lot of things that James Lewis did and events James Lewis was involved in as a child that would indicate he was troubled, probably. We won't go into great detail about those. It's like the classic kind of thing you hear about, especially if you listen to any true crime.
Okay.
He marries Leanne. They have a daughter together in 1969. Her name is Toni Ann Lewis. She is born with Down syndrome, and she has a congenital heart defect, which is a heart in the atrial wall.
So him and Leanne have Toni. Okay.
When Toni is about 2 to 3 months old, doctors perform a surgery to patch that hole in her heart, and everything seems relatively okay after that. James, who also goes by Jim because, sorry, side note, that's awful. Why would you go by Jim if your name is James? That's like actually a big gripe I have. There's a coworker I have whose name is James, and I was internally calling him James, and he goes by Jim. And I'm sorry, he's like 30.
That's really interesting.
Thank you.
Jim feels older to me.
Right?
James feels more... James feels more fun, more interesting.
Right, yeah.
I know several James, and I like them. Almost none of them go by Jim.
Exactly.
Right.
So James, is particularly close with his daughter. I think he spent a lot of time learning how to communicate with her and all of that. Leanne and James together would start a bookkeeping or accounting service called Lewis and Lewis. I believe at this point they are in Kansas City.
And it's just them as a married couple, but it's Lewis and
Lewis.
Fantastic.
I know. Fucking incredible. Toni, because she's still so young, would stay with them at the shop. She's like not really old enough to go out to school or anything like that. So she stays in the shop. She would sit in the window and she would wave at people walking by, which was very sweet. Sometimes people would wave back, sometimes they wouldn't. One person who would wave back and interact with Toni was a man named Raymond West. So finally, after a while of this, Ray comes into the store and introduces himself and just generally finds out, like, hey, I interact with your daughter all the time. What is it that you do? Right. And so he finds out that they're like an accounting service. And Ray is actually a retired truck driver. And so he does eventually hire Lewis and Lewis for, I think, tax services, maybe just some general like bookkeeping and that kind of stuff. The Lewis
life before phones.
Yeah.
Hey, I've waved at your dot on the window. What's going on here?
What are you doing? Truly. The Lewis couple, especially James, would become pretty close with Ray, and Ray would start spending a lot more time at their storefront. And then tragedy strikes. This is going to be a trigger warning for the death of a child. Remember that heart defect Toni had, the hole in the atrial wall, and the surgery that they did? On December 10th, 1974, she is about 5 years old, the patch pulls loose. The stitches, I think, were defective. And Toni's brought to the emergency room, but unfortunately does not make it after about like 10 minutes of being in there. So it really was not something that was going to happen. And I think this was really, really heartbreaking for James. I never got Leanne's side of the story. I know James's side of the story. It does seem like maybe there was a lot of effort put into keeping Toni alive for a really long time. And so this was really heartbreaking for them. James spends a lot of time with Raymond after the death, which is fine. I mean, Raymond's happy to be that friend for James. But after a while, it does become a lot. And we all have that one person. Ray started complaining to his friends that his tax guy's hanging around way too much. And then in 1978, so this is, I think, 4 years after Toni passes, one of Ray's friends starts to worry because he hasn't heard from Ray in a while. So he just moseys on over to the house. Ray's not there. There's, I think, a couple accounts that say maybe he went into the house. He doesn't see anything out of the ordinary and he leaves. Although he does remember seeing James outside of Ray's house, maybe in like James's car.
Okay.
Not sure when, but at some point a wellness check is called to check on Ray. And this was after he had been gone for about 3 weeks. When the police get there, there is a note taped to the door that was not previously there. It's a note written by James, like James not trying to hide that it was written by him or anything. It's written on Lewis and Lewis stationery. And the note says, quote, Raymond West has gone to the Ozarks for 3 to 4 days. For further info, contact Jim.
Oh. Well, that sounds deeply suspicious.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. James claims.
Sorry.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm going to be gone. Will you like just let everybody know for me?
My mom once left a note for my aunt to like where to find the spare key to the house.
Yeah.
But she wrote it in like short form, like that form of handwriting. My aunt was able to read it. And so they felt like really secure. But I was like, that's not a made up language. Like anyone can read that. The idea of posting, this house is empty for several days.
For more info, contact Jim. No last name or contact information.
Exactly. Like,
yeah.
Like, even if this was 100% true, do not post a note on my door, Maia, when I'm gone for several days.
Oh, you don't want me to do that? Shit.
Whenever you're breaking in to change the art, just make sure you take the note down.
Before or after, you know? Your neighbors know it's me because there's a note on the door.
On the plane on Thursday, flying to Nebraska, I was like, shit, did I close the garage door?
Oh my God.
I don't know if I did or not. And you know I refuse to get off airplane mode on a plane because that's my time.
Were you flying on Delta?
I'll tell you in Patreon how that flight went. But I was like, I'll text someone when I land to see if they can swing by. Totally forgot. Anxiety passed. How great. Crazy what a nap will do. Oh, also, I had closed the garage door. I've literally never not.
I've had to start just installing cameras places so that I can check on things. Actually, I lied. So that Casey can check on things when we're at to make sure.
Good.
Like, we have the doorbell camera, right? Half of the reason that we ever check it is when Amazon packages or like our mail gets delivered. And then B, to make sure that we locked the door when we leave, because you can hear the like when you like lock it. Anyway, so James will claim in explaining the letter that Ray, who is his very close friend, had told him he was going to the Ozarks. And I guess James realized that people were starting to get concerned. And he said, I'm just going to like stick a note on the door so people stop really worrying about Ray.
Right.
So I'm unsure on the timeline here. This is going to be a trigger warning. This next, like, I don't know, maybe a handful of minutes are going to be the most graphic this episode's going to get.
We're hitting a lot of the triggers early. Interesting.
I wanted to get them out of the way.
I appreciate it. I really do.
So this is going to be the toughest part. So go ahead and skip now if you would like. You can actually probably just skip to the next chapter marker if you want. Not sure on the timeline. Police do enter the house. I don't know if it's at that wellness check or if it's at like they come back a second day or whatever. Police see a few spots of blood splatter and they're like, I mean, that's weird. And then what they really notice is, remember, it is the 70s. There is shag carpet everywhere. There is like a deep pool of blood in the shag carpet. So deep that when they go to tear up the shag carpet, it is soaked through the floor underneath.
Is shag carpet famously absorbent?
I think so.
Okay.
It's like the towel-y kind of material.
Right.
Yeah. Or at least that's how we do it now. Okay. And so it's a lot of blood. And then the police kind of look around and they see blood kind of trailing like down the wall coming from the ceiling.
Not like halfway up the wall, like fully wall meet ceiling, blood coming down from there.
So they're like, something's up there.
Yeah.
Yep. And so they go up into Ray's attic and they find Ray, who has obviously passed. Here's the graphic description. He had been dismembered. And his body was in such a bad state that initially the coroner could not identify him or like have a cause of death like right off the bat. There are a lot of details on this case. If like your morbid curiosity is getting to you, this case is very well documented if you would like to know more. So police take evidence from Ray's house. Some of this evidence includes a bar of soap, which had visible blood on it, and a hair of James Lewis. There is also a check written from Ray to James for about $5,000, and this is in like late 70s. And the check was pretty clearly forged, and it had bounced.
Ray didn't have $5,000 to give James?
Or the bank was like, this
is suspicious.
Yeah. Unfortunately, these two pieces of evidence don't prove James is guilty. They prove that he was around, he was a bad tax guy, that he was trying to take money, all of this other stuff.
But like, where's the motive? Where's the weapon?
Again, all...
When did it happen and where was James when it all happened?
Exactly.
Yeah.
James will say that the money was a short-term loan that Ray had offered to James for like office equipment or something like that he was going to pay back within the month. As far as the soap, He's like, oh, I spent a lot of time at James or at Ray's house. Like that could have come out like whenever, honestly. Okay. And so eventually, like the police get more evidence. They, I believe, talk to James some, and the DA is like, we got this guy, like get him.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. He's like, we have enough evidence.
We have enough evidence.
For first degree?
I'm not sure. Okay. All I saw was dismemberment and murder is what he was charged with.
It feels like first degree.
It feels like it's probably first degree.
Not an expert, but yeah.
It could have been, I can't remember the distinction. Like if it's a highly emotional thing that happened like in the moment, it has to be premeditated, I feel like, for one of them. Anyway, James is charged with the murder and dismemberment of 72-year-old Raymond West. Unfortunately, when they get to trial or whatever court proceeding it was, the defense reveals James had never been read his Miranda rights.
Oh, shit.
So most of the evidence that they had gotten was obtained illegally and therefore dismissed. And so they couldn't get James and he walked. No one has ever been charged with the murder of Raymond West to this day.
Okay, I did not see that twist coming.
Yeah, right?
But like, what evidence did they gather without having read the Miranda rights?
I couldn't find a ton of information.
Interviews with him, stuff like that.
It's possible maybe James like let them into the house, or I don't know exactly what. I tried Googling to figure out exactly like why.
The details there, yeah.
And most of the articles that I found, granted, I did not have time to like do a super deep dive. Most of the articles were just like police misconduct or like mishandling of evidence.
Sure.
And stuff like that. So I don't know, but he walked, and that's tragic.
Yes, it is.
And now we're going to skip forward and kind of forget about James Lewis for a second.
Okay. That's an interesting choice that we're taking.
Yep, I know. This next section is called The Tragedy. We're not out of the woods yet, people.
Okay.
We are going to skip forward all the way to 1982. So I think 4 years or so after the murder of Raymond West. Yeah, October 1st, we are in Chicago proper. So not one of the suburbs of Chicago, but like actual Chicago. We're in the early evening. United flight attendant Joan Ahern is growing concerned about her friend, who is her coworker, also a flight attendant, 35-year-old Paula Prince. Paula was not answering her phone. Remember, it's the 80s, so like, what do? You like leave a message, hang up, and then hope like
they hear it.
You connect the next day or something like that. And so Joan didn't really think a whole lot of it, but then when she went into work, she found out that Paula had been a no-show for her flight the previous day, and that was very unlike
Super
Paula.
Unusual.
Yep. So Joan and Paula's sister Carol head over to Paula's house. And there are a couple of versions of this story. I'll tell you what I think actually happened is that they go into the apartment, they see Paula's body, they assume Paula had been murdered and were scared the murderer was still in the apartment. Yeah. And so I think they left and then called a wellness check. There's like different versions of the story depending on like when the story came out. And I don't know if they initially told everyone that they had gone in because they probably felt like that made them look bad.
Sure.
So there are versions of the story where they say like there was just a wellness check called and then the police came in. But I think what had happened is that they had seen the body first and then left and then called the wellness check.
But they find Paula. And
I don't know how much they see of her. This is not graphic. Like she's not dismembered or anything like that. She is dead though. I think she's like collapsed in the bathroom or something like that. So Paula is declared dead at 6:45 on October 1st. But that's like not the actual time of death because that's just when they like found her and were like, there's nothing we can do. The consensus is that she had actually died on the 29th of September, so 2 days prior.
Okay.
As the police investigate, they find that she actually had not been officially seen. She, as in Paula, had not been officially seen since September 29th when she was caught on security footage at 9:30 p.m. at a Walgreens where she stopped after landing at O'Hare after her flight in from Las Vegas. And truth be told, by the time the police found her body, they can tell almost immediately that Paula is the latest victim in a string of killings which has taken Chicago by storm over the last 2 days.
Okay.
So let's go back to September 29th, 2 days prior to Paula's body being found. This next section is, there are going to be 6 deaths.
In total or in this section alone?
In this section.
Okay.
So if you don't want to hear that, that's fine. You're going to miss some details. None of this is gory. But here we go.
Heavy start to tonight's episode.
Yeah. Early morning on September 29th, it's about like 6 a.m. or so. Mary Kellerman was a perfectly healthy 12-year-old girl living in Elk Grove Village, which is a suburb of Chicago. Mary woke up feeling sick with a sore throat, and she asked to stay home from school, and her parents said, yep. She goes into the bathroom, presumably to take some fever reducer med or something like that. Her father, Dennis, says, quote, I heard her go into the bathroom. I heard the door close, and then I heard something drop. I went to the bathroom door. I called, Mary, are you okay? There was no answer. I called again, Mary, are you okay? There was still no answer, so I opened the bathroom door, and my little girl was on the floor, unconscious. She was still in her pajamas. So the paramedics are called. They take her to the hospital, but her heart stops on the ride over. They are at the hospital by about 7 a.m, and they try to save her life with CPR and inserting a pacemaker. Grant figured it out.
I did.
Yeah, and obviously that doesn't work. So just before 10 a.m, 12-year-old Mary Kellerman is pronounced dead. The cause of death is listed as stroke, but everyone is very confused about how a 12-year-old girl
gets
could
a stroke,
die like that. And I think at this point, you would need an MRI or something to prove a stroke. And so I don't know if that's something that was
Listener,
easy.
If you have caught on before I did, congrats. If you have not caught on yet to what I am 90% sure I know what it is now, especially now that I know it's in Chicago and stuff, it's a story worth staying and that's coming from a person who famously is not a huge true crime person.
After this section about the death, it's pretty.
This is a lean-in story. This is a lean-in story.
Yes.
Okay. Again, I will let you know in the next section if I am right or not.
Okay. Around noon, so Mary Kellerman has passed. Around noon in Arlington Heights, another suburb of Chicago, 27-year-old postal worker Adam Janis is not feeling well.
27?
27.
Okay.
He's been complaining of chest pain, but otherwise was completely healthy. I think some sources said he had not been feeling well since maybe he had driven a neighbor's kid home the previous day or maybe that morning or whatever, but don't quote me on that. Either way, he tells his wife he's going to take the day off of work, and so he takes some meds and decides to take a nap. Around 1:30 p.m., an ambulance is called to the Janis household because his wife is unable to get him to wake up from a nap. They arrive and take him to the hospital, and I try everything they can, but at around 3:15 p.m., Adam Janis is pronounced dead by Dr. Thomas Kim. Again, paramedics cannot really figure out what's going on. He was a completely healthy 27-year-old man. At this point, the paramedics are reported to the Janis household, and the paramedics are reported to Mary Kellerman.
And is this the same day?
Yes, this is all the same day.
Okay.
Not Raymond West. That was several years ago. But these two are the same day.
Yeah. The mysterious died kind of passing out deaths.
In the same day.
Okay.
Yep. 2 deaths in the same day. Yep. They list Adam's cause of death as a heart attack because Adam had been complaining of chest pain previously. Otherwise, they have truthfully no idea. Around 3:45 p.m. across town, 27-year-old Mary Reiner has just gotten back from the hospital after delivering her 4th child about a week ago. She was feeling dizzy and maybe experiencing some other post-birth pain, so she takes some meds that she had gotten back from the hospital, and she shortly after collapses in front of her 8-year-old daughter, Michelle. Michelle will come back into the story later. Mary Reiner's husband sees Mary having what he thinks is a seizure, and he calls the paramedics, and she's rushed back to the hospital. Her cause of death, she's not dead yet, but her cause of death will be listed as brain aneurysm. So back to the Janis family. Adam has passed. The Janis family is devastated.
This is the postal worker again.
Yep, the 27-year-old. And I'm gonna say some ages here in a second, and I just want you to hold off judgment for some time. So initially, the grandmother of the house, or I think the matriarchs of the house, the grandparents are like, hey, let's all meet at Adam's house so we can grieve together. And initially, Adam's younger brother, 25-year-old Stanley, and his wife, 19-year-old Teresa, are hesitant to go. And they say they'll come the next day, but the grandparents are like, no, come now. And so they come. Stanley has chronic back pain, and I believe Teresa had a headache. Stanley's back pain was flaring
from the
up.
grief, yeah.
And and so both are complaining about the pain, and they go and take a pain reliever and then maybe come back. At around 5:45 p.m., another ambulance comes back to the Janis household. An ambulance is called to come back to the Janis household. And this is the same paramedics that reported to Adam's house this morning. And they are very confused because Stanley has now collapsed into Teresa's arms. And Stanley is showing the same symptoms Adam had showed this morning. One of these paramedics, his name is Chuck Kramer. Chuck remembers feeling the dread when he showed up because it was a very similar scene to what he had come into earlier. Chuck is trying to resuscitate Stanley, who is convulsing with white foam coming from his mouth. Teresa is hysterical and screaming for her husband and kind of hanging on to Chuck's arm, and then she collapses too. Chuck turns her over and notes that she has rapid, shallow breathing and her eyes are fixed and dilated. So from the perspective of the paramedics responding to the family, the Janus family, they're kind of like, what the fuck happened to all these people?
Right.
We thought Adam maybe died from a heart attack. What are the chances these 3 people are all getting a heart attack?
Attacks at such a young age.
At such a young age, just like randomly. And then that's exactly what those paramedics are wondering when they hear about Mary Kellerman from earlier in that morning.
The mother.
No, the 12-year-old.
Okay.
The mother has not, I don't think, been connected to this yet. Around 6:30 p.m., 31-year-old Mary McFarland, mother of 2, was at work at the Illinois Bell Telephone Company in Lombard, Illinois, where she had worked for 2 years, when she gets a bad headache. She takes a pain reliever and then soon collapses and is rushed to the hospital. Around 8:15 p.m. is when Stanley Janus, the one who had just previously collapsed, the brother, is pronounced dead. The next morning, September 30th, at really early in the morning, 3:15, Mary McFarland, who is the Bell Telephone Company worker, is pronounced dead 8 hours after arriving to the ICU. And at 9:30 a.m., Mary Reiner, the mother, is declared dead. So,
was Teresa declared dead as well?
Teresa is brain dead. She will be declared dead October 1st at 1:15 after she is removed from life support.
Is she the 6th person?
She is the 6th. So I said 7. I lied to you. There isn't a 7th death, but it will be like not super dramatic, and it will be a little bit later.
But it all basically happened in 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So I will let you know that by the time they discover Paula's body, like I mentioned, on October 1st, they know what is killing these people.
Okay.
So let's talk about what is killing these people. Starting with the Janus family. I'll let you have your moment in the sun. Don't you worry, baby.
I just I want to go on record for the guess before the reveal.
I'll let you do that before I reveal.
Okay, that's all I was going to say.
Yeah, actually, what do you think is killing these people?
It's the Tylenol murders, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Thank you for letting me scratch that itch.
I know. I know you needed it. I saw it. I felt it in your face. So starting with the Janus family, after what had happened, after those 3... Sorry, we need to just hang on that for a second. 3 deaths in one family in one day, all between their 19 and 27 is...
From one pill bottle.
That's just not something that I feel like a family is going to recover from, you know? It's tragic. So Chuck Kramer is the paramedic. Yeah.
19's just so young too, as I
so
sit with that.
Young.
You and I are older than all 3 of them.
I want to be mad.
Welcome, girl.
Fuck you.
You're 27 now.
I don't know about that.
One of us.
I don't know. In my head, I still feel 26, so we'll see.
Sure. Naturally.
So Chuck Kramer, who was the paramedic that responded both times to the Janus family, he calls Helen Jensen. Helen Jensen is the chief nurse, I believe, for Cook County. I could be wrong. But she is called in to investigate to see if she can find anything in the house that could be responsible for this. So she searches the pantry and the fridge or anything really like an environmental factor that could have caused something like this. She looks for anything toxic. She goes through the medicine cabinet and she finds a variety of prescription and non-prescription drugs. It is there that she finds a bottle of extra strength Tylenol, which was practically brand new. In fact, so new that when she dumps them out to count them, there are only 3 doses, aka 6 pills, missing from the bottle.
Wow.
So 3 doses, 3 people dead. She's like, that's got to be it. So, as a reminder, in case you haven't put it together, Adam had been complaining of chest pain and taken pain meds. Teresa and Stanley both had pain. Teresa had a headache and Stanley had back pain. And so they had, once they had arrived to Adam's house, gone into Adam's medicine cabinet, not knowing what was going to happen. And they took some pain meds. And ultimately, that is what killed them. So Helen takes the bottle of Tylenol back to the hospital for testing. At first, no one believes Helen because Helen is a woman.
Right.
And a nurse, and it's the 80s. And she remembers literally being so frustrated, she was stamping her feet.
As these doctors smoke at the nurse's station,
yeah,
they're like, get out of here.
I don't think so.
We know medicine.
Yeah, it can't be the Tylenol, you know? So she's right. So after a while of Helen being absolutely adamant that like this can't just be a coincidence,
right.
Dr. Kim, who is the one that initially declared Adam dead, starts to consider it. A funny thing about Dr. Kim is that he was actually, I think, leaving for the day when the next two Janices were coming back into the hospital.
Oh, okay.
And so he hears that he was like getting ready to leave, and they're like, there are two more people from that family coming in, and he was like, fuck. And I think he works for like maybe the next like 24, 48 hours straight or something like that. He literally puts his coat back on and gets back into the hospital. So props to him for that. It also started being noted that all of the suspects had taken painkillers shortly before collapsing. Dennis Kellerman had given Mary Kellerman one extra strength Tylenol capsule before she collapsed. Luckily, though, for that, the paramedics had inventoried the Tylenol bottle Mary Kellerman had taken from because they really did not understand what had happened to her. And so they kind of just took everything, hoping something would stick.
Okay.
Those bottles are passed over to investigator Nick Pichos, who that investigator notices that the lot numbers from Mary Kellerman's bottle and the Janice bottle match.
Sure.
Do you know what a lot number is?
Just like, this is the batch we made. Yeah. Here it is.
This is the batch. This is when it was made and where it was made.
When you get recalls, they're like, if you have between batch number blankety blank and blankety blank. I was like, America can't do math.
My favorite thing is
America can't read.
No. My favorite thing now is I used to work at an oat milk plant, and whenever I see
what?
Yeah.
I knew this, but like, it's still just kind of crazy to hear.
Working in manufacturing, sometimes if I see a product that I have like worked at a plant where they manufacture that, I will look at the lot number and be like, hey, that was manufactured where I worked. Listen, don't talk to me.
The Colorado School of Mines is your next journey into education.
Casey works on lasers now. That's cool.
And you made oat milk.
I know palette patterns.
Bunsen burner on.
Okay.
I don't know shit about fuck, so
I mean,
listen, it is the bottom yelling up right now. That needs to be clear.
I've said so many things that could be taken so many ways.
Should not have said that. Continue.
Okay, so that's all good progress. They identify that the lot numbers are the same, but they're like, okay, that's great that they took Tylenol, but why the fuck did it kill people?
Right.
Because what do you do when you're sick? You take Tylenol. What the fuck do you mean
also,
it's making it worse?
This isn't a super specific medication. Legitimately, every American household has a bottle of this medication. Why are only these people dying?
True. We're going to talk more about that, too. So Tylenol overdose is possible, just to put that out there. And it is pretty common for it to happen, especially as you get older. But you do have to take like kind of a fuck ton of it. And it does happen over the course of a couple days.
Okay. So when I'm debating between 2 or 3, I'm not like at risk there. Okay.
I think
3 it is, baby.
I think you got to get into like the 30s.
That was
something.
the only thing pumping the brakes on between 2 and 3.
Yeah.
That and how much I was going to drink that day. Again, I'm joking.
I mean, don't take 3 forever, but like...
God, you and my pharmacist friend say the same thing.
Like, if it's really bad, I don't know. I'm not a pharmacist. Don't ask me things. Okay, so investigators and medical professionals continue to they kind of hold themselves up in a room at this hospital trying to figure this out. And they also have Deputy Medical Examiner Edmund Donahue on the phone. I'm sorry. I don't think I've ever seen the name Donahue spelled out.
Yeah.
Dono. First of all, criminal. That doesn't feel right. And then Ghue. No. Respectfully, no. That's not how it's spelled in my brain.
When you say respectfully no, you're actually being disrespectfully Irish.
So I'm being Irish?
Hey, do you know what will actually really mess you up?
Yeah.
Go check out the word McIntyre.
I know. I used to live on McIntyre Street.
I said it McKintry until I was like 27.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I know. And then someone said McIntyre, and I was like,
oh, shit. You're right. That does sound more right.
Disappointed in myself, but more mad at the word still.
I get that.
Continue.
I deeply understand that. So they're trying to realistically think.
So they have a bunch of doctors and an Irish slur together on the phone. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay.
We found the humor.
Gotta be serious for a second. I'm sorry.
Shit. I'm so sorry, Irish people. Serious, Maia.
This is as far as like not as serious as we did get like the really heavy stuff out of the way. Yeah. There's one more death.
Well, thank God. Oh, okay.
And I promise it's not it won't, I promise it won't be as bad as learning about like 6 deaths all at once.
It low-key better be raised.
Actually, there are 2 more deaths. I'm sorry.
Okay. So, okay.
Okay. So they're trying to think of something that could realistically kill these people in such a short span of time. We're talking minutes, whereas a Tylenol overdose would take days. So Grant, you know the spy movies? How if like a spy gets caught and they need to, off themselves to save the
cyanide capsule.
Yeah. Capsule. So yeah, cyanide. So Edmund is like, smell the bottles. Because
does it smell like almonds?
I was so on the fence about if you would get it right or not.
Do you want to know
why?
I
even literally said, because say it with me now, cyanide smells like
almonds.
And then I wrote, wait for Grant to fill it in. Almonds. Why do you know that?
The man who killed Archduke Franz Ferdinand,
yes,
after doing so, was like, ha ha ha, glorious revolution, ha ha ha, cyanide capsule, and then to make sure I die, I am gonna jump into this river. But the river was 6 inches deep, and he broke his legs, which kept him above water long enough for him to vomit the expired cyanide he had taken.
That's the universe saying, hey.
And then it cuts
we
to
got
like
more plans.
Some historical person who's like, and cyanide smells like almonds. Like, it was so many colorful details that you could slip in some learning. And that's my teaching style.
We've all been listening to the podcast.
Isn't that fun to know about the murderer of Archduke Franz Ferdinand? I mean, it's kind of funny.
It is, yeah.
He was eating a sandwich when he found the Duke.
That's wild.
He literally failed, said, well, I'm still going to get lunch. And then the Archduke drove in front of him. And he was like, ha ha ha, bang, 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 glorious revolution. Broke legs, vomit cyanide, arrested.
What
Never
a day.
even finished the sandwich.
What a day.
Yeah, some would say that was quite a day. Yeah, some would say, wow, what a day in history, as many have been quizzed on. It happened in, I think June.
I don't think that assassination has anything to do with anything,
hey,
Grant.
How'd we get to World War I?
I don't know.
Almonds.
I've just been here. Okay, so they're like, cyanide. So they pour out some of the capsules. They note that nothing looks out of the ordinary, but they all kind of notice that there's a strong smell of bitter almond. And they check the second bottle and they get the same smell. And the way that it's written, at least in the article that I read, is that the 2 people, the like investigator and the medical examiner or something, or the doctor, like smell the almonds and then have this like sitcom moment where they look at each other and they go, cyanide, at the same time. And I'm like, I'm reading about murder.
Right.
Yes.
Glorious revolution.
Yes. Also, fun fact, I thought everyone could smell almonds in cyanide. Turns out that's not true. Turns out only a percentage of the population
It's the same gene that makes cilantro haters freaks, right?
I have no
I'm
idea.
onto something here.
Sure. Yes. Uh-huh. Everyone nod and say he did good.
It's been a while since I've had wine on the podcast.
And I love this. There was a reason I asked for it. I was like, we're gonna need that.
Meanwhile, I was like, the people in my life take care of me so well. Yeah. Like, for me, it's a gratitude practice moment
it
as
was
I
also
de-shell
that.
edamame.
Why were you de-shelling edamame?
Because I was watching Netflix.
Yeah, sure. So anyway, so Dr. Kim sends blood samples from Teresa and Stanley to test for cyanide. Nick and Edmund, the investigator and then the medical examiner, send the pills to the county chief toxicologist, Michael Schaefer. And then they ask Michael to test for cyanide. So they're testing the blood and they're testing the pills for cyanide. By early morning on the 30th, so this is before even 2 of the people have been pronounced dead, or 3 of the people had been pronounced dead, before they find the body of Paula Prince.
Okay.
The tests come back positive for cyanide. They note, I got ahead of myself. I said, no, this is before Mary and other. There's so many Marys in this case, y'all. Okay. By early morning on the 30th, the tests come back positive for cyanide. Both the blood and the pills. Michael's team, the one testing the pills, found that Of the 44 remaining pills from the Janus family household, so there's 50 pills total, 3 are missing because they were consumed.
3 doses are missing.
3 doses are missing, so 6 pills. 4 of the remaining 44 pills contain cyanide. Isn't that deeply upsetting?
They just could not have been more unlucky.
Yep.
With the batch that they had.
With the pills that they took. Yeah. Yep.
So, but not every pill was laced?
Nope. Only a couple. Each pill, however, that had cyanide, and I saw different numbers. Some said either whatever number you see, what you need to know is that each pill contained much more than the required dose to kill somebody. Okay. A lot of people believe that it seemed pretty obvious when they looked at the pills. There's like these brownish rings that happened around the capsule. You know, like the pill capsule, there's like the white side and the red side for extra strength Tylenol. And so there's these little rust red rings around the white side. And so what they took that kind of to mean is that someone had pulled apart the capsule, emptied out the acetaminophen, and scooped up the cyanide, and then like pushed it back together. Yeah.
Truthfully, in my mind, the way I had envisioned it is like someone's dusting these pills with something. But like the whole pill itself has in 0 cases, Tylenol. 100% cyanide.
Yeah. Unclear if that's the case for all of them, but that was at least the case for some of them.
Okay.
Yeah. So, 10 a.m. on September 30th, there's a press conference, quote, to warn the people that there might be a danger, and if they had any Tylenol, then it was probably a good idea, at least for a while, not to take it. This is the government saying we can't legally tell you stop fucking taking Tylenol or stop selling Tylenol. We're telling you that
do they call Tylenol before they make this announcement?
I don't know the exact timeline of when Johnson & Johnson comes into the picture. They do come in pretty quick.
Yeah, could imagine.
Before this announcement was made, an attorney for Johnson & Johnson came and saw the test results, and even he was like, you can't hide this from the public.
Right. People need to know.
Yeah. So the Illinois Attorney General, Ty Fauner, is also on the case, and he gets a call from some exec at Johnson & Johnson asking how they can help. Johnson & Johnson owns McNeil, and McNeil produces Tylenol. The Attorney General will tell them to stop selling Tylenol in order to give them time to figure all of this out. And on September 30th, around 3 p.m., Johnson & Johnson announces a recall of all Tylenol from that lot number in the Chicagoland area.
So they already have that lot number.
Yeah, MC2880 is what that is. They said after the press release, they were inundated with calls from concerned citizens. Mm-hmm. Eventually, the medical examiner's response to some of these citizens, or his team's response, was, if you're calling me, you're fine.
Oh, yikes. If you have the ability to call me, you're not dead and you're fine.
Not dead. You're okay.
It's so deadly that... Mm-hmm. Okay, wow.
What I did a little bit more research specifically just on cyanide, partially because I was interested. Don't tell anyone about how cyanide affects the body and why it kills you. And this doctor or whatever said, if you don't receive an antidote within 5 minutes of consumption, it's considered too late.
Within 5 minutes?
5 minutes. Yeah. Because cyanide is used in industrial production a lot in metal mining, I found out. And so actually there's a lot.
For what? Just to make it even more dangerous?
I don't know exactly why. I think it's also used in metal polishing. I saw it's used a lot in regular scientific practices. Back in the 80s, it was very easy to get. You could buy it at a hardware store.
Cyanide.
Potassium cyanide, yep.
Okay.
And now it's not easy to get for the average person, but when I was working at the National Laboratory, I could have ordered it just easily from their account. And it would have been fine. So 5 minutes. Other side of that is that a Tylenol overdose, that time frame is about 8 hours.
Okay.
So it's it's still serious. Obviously, it can still kill you, but that time frame is just so much longer.
Right. You have time to get to the hospital and pump your stomach or whatever else.
I will say it is hard for medical professionals to narrow it down to being a Tylenol overdose, especially in the early phases, but you still have a lot more time. So Mary Reiner, however, notably, did not have any bottles of extra strength Tylenol in her house. What they think happened is that she had been given some like unit doses of extra strength Tylenol from the hospital because she had just given birth. And she had just like popped them out into her regular strength Tylenol.
Oh.
Yeah.
So the hospital had this extra strength Tylenol that was poisoned.
Yes. Remember that. Mary McFarland, just to go over some of the victims again, Mary McFarland had a headache. She had taken some extra strength Tylenol. Paula Prince, remember I said the last time she was seen was at a Walgreens at 9:30 p.m. buying something after a flight. She was buying Tylenol. Yep, at that Walgreens. And that bottle was actually found on the counter next, like open next to her body.
Because she passed like instantly.
It must have been pretty fast, yeah. Wow. So we're going to talk a cyanide effect really quick.
Okay.
Cyanide is actually very commonly found. It's found in foods like apples, which I had no idea.
Is it in the seeds?
I think it's in the seeds.
Okay.
There's a lot of other ways that we consume it on the daily basis. So our body has a mechanism for processing it. It's just a mechanism that is so small that when your body gets overloaded, it's very easy to completely overload the system.
So stop having apples. They're gross anyways.
Sure. If that's the message you're going to take away from this, that's fine.
At least this section.
Yeah. Okay.
Sour styrofoam wrapped in wax is not edible, and I will not listen to what Big Apple has to push onto me.
You know what? Actually, that's so fair.
Yeah, every time I describe an apple that way, everyone's like, oh, wait, that is exactly what an apple is.
I'm actually terrified of apples now that I have my chipped tooth. I like refuse to eat them. Eat them whole at least. I'm scared I'm going to chip my tooth again.
When we get to Patreon, I want to talk to you about the hockey book that I'm reading right now.
Oh, there's got to be a chipped tooth in that.
Anyways.
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, you have about 5 minutes before it's considered too late. There are a lot of things that can be considered antidotes or can be used to reverse the effects of cyanide, one of those things being vitamin B12.
Okay.
For somehow, what happens is... no, I'm going to say that later. Grant, what's the powerhouse of the cell?
The mitochondria.
Do you know why it's the powerhouse of the cell?
District 1 and 2 after the rebellion.
Yeah, you got it.
Still close to the capital, I believe.
Yeah,
is why.
They're right there.
Right, 100%.
Yeah.
The walnut or whatever they call it.
No fucking idea what you're talking about. I mean, I know it's Hunger Games, but I don't know the whatever nickname you're looking for. So it's called the powerhouse of the cell because it produces energy.
Sure.
In the form...
given, obviously.
Duh. It takes in like glucose, oxygen, like all the shit that's needed to make ATP.
It metastasizes all of it, yeah.
Stop saying words you don't know. Sweet, sweet baby.
I have never stopped and I won't stop.
Good. More of that. Adenosine triphosphate is ATP. So that's what energy is. One of the key enzymes in producing ATP is cytochrome C oxidase, which transports electrons in the electron transport chain in regular cellular respiration. So when cyanide enters the system, it binds very strongly to cytochrome oxidase in the mitochondria. So it prevents your body from being able to process oxygen. So that's why you die like almost immediately, because your body just starts getting a fuck ton of oxygen and has nowhere to go, because cyanide is literally enzymes.
Sure.
I always think of them like Pac-Man.
I'm not enjoying how that had to restart.
I know.
Okay. I'm just like, oh no.
I know.
It's math tutoring all over again.
So enzymes are like Pac-Man, right?
Okay.
They're only looking for one of the ghosts. Like each Pac-Man is geared into one of the colored ghosts, and they can like specifically kind of like bite onto them and break them apart. And that's what enzymes do. And so this enzyme is built to like take an electron off of oxygen. So it will bite onto oxygen and an electron comes off. What cyanide does is it takes the spot that oxygen goes into. And so the like enzyme can't do that. And this is a permanent change that cyanide specifically makes. It's an enzyme inhibitor.
Okay.
And so that's essentially what it is. Your body gets so much oxygen, and you're not going to like this, that when you die of cyanide poisoning, your skin will turn almost like a cherry red because your blood has so much oxygen in it. Yeah. That's all.
earphones are back on. Unfortunately, I can still hear her without
I was
the
like,
earphones
that's
on.
really fun for you to do, I guess.
My ears got a little cold. It's cold in the studio tonight.
It is cold in the studio. It's quite nice. Let's see what else I had written down. So actually, this was also a really fun fact. This was actually a fun fact. You're
All of it has been interesting. Very little of it has been fun.
Okay,
But
this is a fun fact to me. So before this is art history for you. 1700s, before the 1700s, if you look at paintings, there's usually not a ton of blue in those paintings because blue paint prior to that was made from lapis, which is a pretty precious mineral or gemstone.
Sure.
And so this was called the blue problem in this time frame. And so the solution to the blue problem was creating Prussian blue, which is now a lot more common in painting. And that Prussian blue contains cyanide in it. It's cyanide is basically, it wants to bind so much to things. That's why you'll never just get cyanide. You'll get potassium cyanide or sodium cyanide or whatever the fuck. It usually bonds to a metal. And so it binds to this like paint. And so it's completely harmless to you, but blue paint has cyanide in it. So Van Gogh's Starry Night, full of fucking cyanide, dude.
Interesting.
Right?
And that's Prussian blue.
Prussian blue.
Okay.
Right? Okay, so we're back.
We're back. I'm pouring more wine, which we'll see the results of that experiment. Yeah.
And I love it.
But at the break, I was like, oh, I've had wine.
We're like a little over halfway or a little under halfway. So
Great.
You have time.
Amazing.
Dear listener, if it's not clear, we're covering the Tylenol murders. So there will be murder.
Right.
In case, I don't know, you like skipped all the way here. Here are my sources for today because I didn't want to
spoil anything.
Release that too early. So main one was the Netflix documentary Cold Case, the Tylenol Murders. It's a 3-part docuseries that came out in May of this year, 2025. And then a couple articles, New York Times, CBS, for Chicago History Museum, History, NPR, CNN, UPI, the KC Star, PBS, and then 2 podcasts, Stuff You Should Know, which is a 2-parter, I believe, published in 2019, and then Unsolved, the Tylenol Murders, a 3-parter, and I don't remember what year that was. I think early 2020s.
Okay.
But let's get into it. So we're going to go back to October 1st.
Of
that same year, 82.
Okay.
So around 11 p.m. is when Mayor Jane Byrne holds a press conference to announce the finding of Paula Prince's body. Prior to this, I don't think anyone had publicly said, like, don't take Tylenol. They'd said like, hey, there's a danger. Maybe consider trying not to.
Sure.
If maybe you kind of have some in the house. I don't know. And so Mayor Jane Byrne holds a press conference. And also from the articles that I read, I don't know that this was something that was planned for her to say. Maybe it's something that she knew she was going to say and didn't want anybody else to be liable. And then she said it. But she said they are going to be pulling Tylenol off the shelves in Chicago, all Tylenol.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, not wrong, just kind of a massive effort.
Yes.
Every liquor store, drugstore, and grocery store sells Tylenol.
At this point, I mean, this is still really early on, but everyone is already fucking panicking. There's about 6 million people, I believe, in Northeast Illinois where this was going on. And so Mary Jane Byrne was like, people were losing it.
Shut it down?
Yeah, people were losing it.
I feel like I could walk from your house and go buy Tylenol without crossing a major street. Like I know I could
probably.
at my house.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's that common.
Yeah. It's easy. Yeah.
Right.
Although now you can buy it as acetaminophen. So talk more about that later.
I think that's really interesting what you just said right there. It's my JFK Jr. impersonation. Ignore me.
Okay. I don't think I actually wrote this down, so now's as good a time as any. So in the 80s, in the 70s and 80s specifically, Tylenol was fucking huge. Tylenol was everyone's go-to medication. Obviously, I think aspirin at this point, the patent had expired. If you're unaware, do you know about like medical patents for medications and stuff?
I know they expire, but
yes.
I don't really know more than that.
The U.S. government, in order to incentivize innovation in like the pharmaceutical industry especially, will give a company a patent for a medication that only lasts, I think, like nowadays 20 years or something. And a lot of times, a lot of that time frame is used up in some of the research and development and getting the approvals from the FDA. So you only have a certain amount of time where you can basically charge whatever the fuck. you want.
Gotcha.
I mean, within reason, obviously, sure. But you can upcharge the cost to recoup whatever it costs to develop the medication. When that patent expires is when you get generic medications. So I believe aspirin, which is a non-steroidal something anti-inflammatory drug, that patent I think expired in like 1917, which just feels like so early to me. I thought it was going to be way later. But so there's aspirin, and then there is Motrin, both of which are like some form of ibuprofen. They're all non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Around, I believe, like 50s, 60s timeframe, they found a connection between the I don't remember how they pronounce it, NSAIDs? Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. It's just such a fucking mouthful. They found a link between that and Ray's syndrome, I believe.
Okay.
It is a syndrome that directly affects children, and it causes brain swelling and like liver malfunction or something like that. Like actual like really big issues. And so the public was like, okay, well, I'm not taking that anymore. And so Tylenol had just come on the market. It had, I believe, been developed by McNeil in 1955. McNeil was then purchased by Johnson & Johnson in 1959. And then that patent, I don't think expired until 2007 from my Googling.
Okay.
Which in my head, I was like, why was I an ibuprofen kid? Like, I feel like when
we were an ibuprofen house.
Yeah, when you're a kid, you like there's like one pain med that you have, right? And I was like, I don't know why I never took. That was why, because Tylenol was more expensive up until 2007.
Yeah, it was name brand.
Exactly. So, fun fact for you. Anyway, so that's why everyone and their fucking mother had Tylenol right around this time.
Okay.
And so, around the time of Mayor Jane Byrne's like public announcement, around the 30th or the 1st, authorities in Chicago began aggressively warning the public not to use Tylenol. When I say aggressively, I mean there's like police cars trolling the streets, like talking on their loudspeakers, telling people to not take Tylenol, to throw it away. There are people going door to door, like asking, especially like elderly folks, like, do you have Tylenol in the house? Like, throw it away. Like, please don't take it. Mayor Jane Byrne has an effort to make flyers and posters telling people not to. She focuses especially, which I appreciate, on foreign languages, so that people who can't hear some of those announcements are also knowing not to take Tylenol. Like, it's a massive fucking effort. And that's actually good, because it turns out that some of the other victims that we saw on the 29th had died from taking Tylenol from different lots, not just the lot just one number of Kellerman and Janice. And so Mary McFarland, for example, owned MD 1910 and MB 2738. In general, the lot numbers did not narrow down. Kind of what they were hoping is that it was all coming from one facility if it was originating at a Johnson & Johnson like plant. And what they found with these lot numbers is that, no, it's coming from everywhere. It's not just coming from the Chicago area. There was one plant in Pennsylvania. There was one plant in Texas. And they were like...
And are all of these plants shipping these lots just to Chicago?
I don't think so.
So it's nationwide.
It should, at least in like specific areas. I don't know if it's like fully nationwide, but they should only be shipping to the same areas. But Chicago is probably an overlap of like the Venn diagram. So they were all also bought at different places. So if you're like, maybe they all bought them at a Walgreens.
Right.
Nope. There were bottles. So some of these bottles were complicit in the murders. Some of these were contaminated bottles discovered afterwards. They were found at 2 different Jewel food stores in Arlington Heights and Elk Grove, at Osco Drugstore in Schaumburg, at Walgreens in Chicago, Dominic's also in Chicago, and a Frank's Finer Food in Winfield, for an example. So they're coming from everywhere. They're appearing everywhere. So the police are like...
Shut it down.
Yeah, what the fuck do we do? What do we do? And so people started dropping their Tylenol off at police stations.
Oh.
And so thousands of these bottles are going to be tested then for cyanide, to like really get a grasp on how widespread this issue is. This is also just being written about fucking everywhere. I saw one source that said...
I could imagine.
Yeah. The number of stories published about this was second only to the number of stories written about the JFK assassination.
Yeah.
Yeah, like fucking huge. So October 4th and 5th. Monday, October 4th, Chicago City Council passes an ordinance requiring tamper-resistant packaging for all drugs sold in stores.
Okay. So do they even know if people are tampering with it yet?
That's their assumption, especially because Johnson & Johnson is pretty quick to be like, this is not us. It's not coming from our facility. We do not have cyanide in our facility. It's not coming from the same plant. It's not being sold in the same store. Like,
so someone's going through Chicago specifically and tampering with the medication.
It has to be something after it leaves our plant.
So they don't have tampering medication? They don't have the super glued, sealed on little tinfoil thing at the top?
So that's actually because of this that you have that. So if you're ever like, I can't get to my fucking medication. So first of all, at this point, they did have the little cotton ball.
Steak knife through the tinfoil, finger.
Yes.
And then I'm just stripping off little pizza slices of tinfoil.
To like try and get it out of the way and look as clean as possible. Yeah, 100%. So prior to this, they only had the little cotton ball.
Okay.
Initially, the cotton ball was only used for hard pills to protect the pills during transportation so they wouldn't like rattle around and break.
Okay.
But it turns out after a while, like maybe like market research or something, they discovered people felt safer with the cotton ball. So the cotton ball now just gets put in everything, like even capsules. Boop. You don't need it. No one needs it. And they're still putting it in there. But yeah, so after this, I'm not sure on the date exactly. I'll say it at some point. But Johnson & Johnson develops like a 3-stage like tamper-proof system. So instead of previously, you could just pull a bottle off, open it, pull the cotton out, pills.
Okay.
That's it.
And that's at the store.
That's at the store.
There's no like seal to break or anything.
So even after this.
That's crazy.
So people were like opening products and smelling them after this because they wanted to see if it had cyanide in it.
Oh my God.
I know. And so after this, first you would have to open a glued shut box so that way, if it had been tampered, you at least could tell that it had been tampered with.
This is my Allegra journey so far.
Yes, and then you take the bottle out of the box. There's a little like heat sealed thing attaching the cap to the bottle that you have to then like peel off.
Yep, okay.
And then you open the cap and then there's the foil. And so this was all in an effort to prevent tampering.
Kind of feels like you could just have the foil, but I hear you all the same.
I think they wanted more on the outside.
Do you remember?
But yeah, the foil is fucking impossible to get through, dude.
Early days, maybe we were just coming out of the pandemic.
Okay.
And I remember for someone being like, they retweeted it and they were like, this is our Tylenol Murders. And someone had gone to the grocery store, taken up like a bucket of ice cream, popped the lid off, licked it, lid back on, put it in the freezer.
That's a federal crime now because of this.
Yes, it is. And I think Blue Bunny had to start putting like little paper condoms on top of all of like the little sealed things, whatever, you know?
Ooh.
I know.
Deeply upsetting.
I know. I mean, ultimately, like it's not going to impact.
Nice things.
Well, that's not going to impact your health, but that is absolutely violating the social contract, and you should be forced to work hard labor. I've had a wine.
No, that's true. Okay. By October 5th, J&J recalls all Tylenol products nationwide.
Johnson & Johnson recalls McNeil's maybe only product from everywhere in America.
I think all acetaminophen products. I don't think it was just extra strength Tylenol.
Is there anything happening outside of Chicago, though, at this time?
Not that we know about.
Okay.
I didn't do a ton of digging, so I might as well just say it now. There are other copycat things that happened. There are a couple other like satellite cases.
Assumingly all like within a couple years of this incident, though, yeah? Before packaging went similar nationwide.
We'll talk about it. Yeah, we'll talk about it. Yes. So that recall, the previous recall was the biggest recall in history, the one that was just extra strength Tylenol of that lot number in Chicago. This is now the biggest recall in all of history. It is 31 million bottles valued at over $100 million, which is in 2024 was $326 million. And so Tylenol also advised no one consume any of its products containing acetaminophen, and also offered to exchange the capsule acetaminophen for solid tablets to any customer, because that's not as easy to tamper with.
Okay.
So now we get into the investigation. Our dear favorite president, Ronald Reagan, sends FBI agents, Roy and Gray. At some point, the case would be a 15-agency task force and include 26 FBI agents, just because of like the sheer number of counties involved and just because no one could fucking figure out what was going on. Johnson & Johnson hires toxicologists to investigate the plants that these had come from, and they all kind of ruled that the contamination could never have happened in the Johnson & Johnson facility.
Now, is that believed? Like, yes, that's true, their systems are up and going, or is this the company line?
Depends on who you are. At this point, we'll talk about some of the other reactions to that specific thing that Johnson & Johnson did. I think by the public, it's believed.
Okay.
So the leading theory is, since it couldn't have happened at the Johnson & Johnson facilities, that someone went into the stores, either stole or bought bottles, contaminated some of the capsules, and then put them back on the shelf, whether they put them into a different bottle or fucking whatever. They were taking them out, probably contaminating them, and then putting them back.
Do you think they were buying them and then putting them back, or like literally stealing them?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, whichever.
It just feels like a lot to do in the middle of an aisle.
It's also the 80s, so
true.
There's no real cameras, and if they have them, they're pointed at their employees. So.
Okay.
The investigators mapped out how long it would take for someone to make the drive between all the stores that the contaminated Tylenol was bought at, and they estimated like a minute or so for each capsule, because remember, it's like pretty easy to get to them, pretty easy to dump it out, scoop them back in. So they determined that amount of time was actually pretty doable.
He could have done it in like one day.
Could have been very easily one day. And it also helps that this was a pretty concentrated incident in like just kind of the Chicagoland area. Remember, there is no tamper-proof packaging, and at this point, potassium cyanide could have easily been bought for pretty cheap at a hardware store. So far, we know about this, that a lot of victims have passed, very tragically, and that it was cyanide that did it. And that's it. That's all we know, really, effectively. There's no connection between victims. There's no discernible motive. And so why would a criminal do this?
Right.
You know? And you remember Paula Prince's friend and sister, how they found her body?
Laying down in her apartment.
In her bathroom.
Right? Yeah.
When the medical examiner came to the scene, he or she asked the pair if either of them had tried to resuscitate Paula. And they said no. And the medical examiner was like, thank God. She had so much cyanide on her lips, it could have killed you.
Holy shit.
Just to give you like a grasp of how
much?
fucking much this was. Yeah. And then the grocery store where Paula bought the Tylenol at, they find a video from the security camera showing Paula at the checkout. And so this is just like a really haunting photo. If you ever like happen across like a roll of photos, it's just like kind of crazy historical things, and they look very
last known photo of a person, whatever.
So this arrow is pointing to Paula. She's at the checkout counter.
Okay.
And
I mean, she's dressed snazzily. I mean,
she's coming from the airport. Yeah.
Power shoes, great looking outfit, curls for days.
Yeah. And then what they focus in on is this guy who is staring at her during the entire duration of the video. Isn't that creepy?
I bet we know the name of this person, right?
We think we might.
Okay.
Again, no one, just to remind you guys, if I didn't make it clear, this is an unsolved case, technically.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Oh, I did not know that.
No one has been arrested for the murders. We have a lot of suspects, and honestly, I think
what
a
about
lot
Lewis? Yeah?
We'll talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, granted, could just be like a guy scanning the...
could
but
be.
if you're saying he watches her the entire time... Oh, my God.
Yeah, he's like watching her check out, and it's feels wrong. Because
the thing is, he would have had to have just done all of these because they all kind of happened on the same day or within the same day.
Also, we'll talk about it later that I think some of the medical professionals are saying that the cyanide had to have been added relatively like soon before they were like bought and then consumed, because after a certain amount of time, the cyanide would have eaten through the gelatin on the outside of the capsules. So like it is very reasonable that he could have done that and seen someone buy one of the bottles that he
like
contaminated.
Watched it happen.
Yep. So here, just to recap what Johnson & Johnson did in response. We know that they recalled a fuck ton of products, thankfully. They also hired toxicologists to look at the facilities. They warned hospitals and Tylenol distributors to halt distribution. J&J also destroys all recalled and contaminated bottles of Tylenol. And Johnson & Johnson also announces that they will introduce tamper-proof packaging to prevent this from ever happening again. And after seeing what that packaging looks like, the FDA and kind of everyone, they're like, perfect, this is never going to happen again. That's exactly what should happen. I think there are some sources that say J&J was already looking at introducing tamper-proof packaging, and that's kind of why that rollout happened so fast.
Okay. They had some prototypes.
Yeah, or something like that. But this is really what kickstarted it. So let's talk about some of the suspects. This is the first one. He's not mentioned in a lot of sources talking about the Tylenol murders, but Kevin Masterson is a 35-year-old Lombard resident. He became a suspect after it was revealed he had a long-standing grudge against Jewel food stores. Men will literally.
What?
Wait. According to his landlord, the grudge began when he claimed his wife was roughed up at one of the stores while being held for shoplifting.
Okay.
And he says that incident ultimately led to their divorce.
Okay. All right.
He is cleared. He was not the murderer. But the fact that someone was like, you should check this guy out, is men will literally do whatever the fuck this is.
Men literally will.
Yeah. What? Eventually, there's a nationwide search for Kevin, and he eventually turns himself into the FBI, who are able to hold him for at least a second on possession of marijuana charges. He'll be, yeah.
Sorry. I'm like, men are so weird with their grocery stores, and then it's like, I know exactly what day rotisserie chickens are discounted, so I need to sit down and shut the hell up. But I'm like, men need to have real relationships in their lives.
How dare you touch my wife after she committed a crime? You caused her to divorce me.
Saw a picture on the internet, and it was like, cashier says, you must live alone, huh? I see you come in and buy the same thing a lot. It was 2 cans of corn, a packet of Oreos, and like a steak.
Oh,
and
that's a cry for help.
I would drive off a cliff. I mean, obviously I'm having the Oreos, steak, and corn first.
And then
I'm driving
while I eat the rest of the Oreos.
Listen, most men are just a little autistic, and we just have our comfort meals. Or we never learned how to cook because of patriarchy.
That's true.
Pick your poison.
Yep. And it's me that doesn't know how to cook. Grant can cook. So
I was making a Tylenol reference.
Yeah. Okay. I thought you were making an autism reference.
No, I know you can't cook.
Hey.
You would have loved the soup I made last night.
I thought you were going to say you would have loved the Tylenol Murders.
No.
I don't know. It's like,
legitimately, last night I was making a soup and legitimately delicious wing.
I'm always jealous when you make soup.
Right, but
soup is magic.
You know what's so crazy? I really do love making like a base soup, and then from there, spicing it however the hell I want.
I don't understand how that happens. How is that not chemistry?
So last night it was spicy Thai with like a little bit of coconut milk and like curry paste added. And today, same base soup, obviously without any of like the Thai and curry stuff, dill.
I'm talking about murder. Grant just said the word dill.
No, but it's related. We're at a grocery store.
Okay. Kevin Masterson is ruled out as a suspect in these.
It's never the first guy
killings.
she mentions, by the way.
No, it won't be. And he's ruled out as suspect, and he will pass in 2016, so he's no longer alive. Roger Arnold. This is crazy. Every time I learn more about this particular man, I'm like, why?
Okay.
You know, trigger warning, there will be one of the remaining 2 deaths in this next section. So Roger Arnold comes onto the scene around October 11th as a suspect. He is 48 years old, and he works at a warehouse for Jewel food stores. So if you haven't connected it, 2 of the bottles at least of the contaminated bottles were bought at a Jewel Foods. And he openly admits to having owned cyanide and having kept some in the house. I think it may have been for metalworking at the time.
Okay.
He is, however, a closet chemist or something. Like he's really into chemistry.
So meth. He makes meth.
I don't.
Is it meth?
God.
Listener, it's
we
meth.
can only hope. Roger was I want to assume a local at this bar, this bar in Lincoln Park. He had told a couple other patrons that he had just bought a large quantity of cyanide. And those patrons in turn had been like, what the fuck? And then told the bar owner named Marty Sinclair. Marty Sinclair then goes to the cops now that all of this has been come to light, and the police search Roger's home. They don't find any cyanide. Roger is very open with the police saying like, yeah, I own cyanide. I did throw it out about 6 months ago. I don't use it. But they do still search his house. He's a closet chemist, or basically an amateur chemist. So they find a bunch of lab equipment and stuff.
Okay.
One investigator remembers seeing a book on poisons called The Poor Man's James Bond.
Sure.
Which describes how to make potassium cyanide. I don't think that they ever got the indication that he was trying to make it himself, but
Marty Sinclair being a man who owns a bar in Chicago and is involved in a murder investigation, that feels right.
It really does, right?
That feels...
None of those words were incorrect.
You were born with a fate.
Yes. 100%. Like
he had... As the prophecy foretold.
He had no choice but to tell the cops. That was in his history.
He owns a bar in Chicago.
Yeah.
His name is Marty Sinclair.
When the police are searching Roger's house, they also find a number of guns which are unregistered. I think 5 guns, a handgun, a rifle, ammo, a bunch of other stuff. It also comes out that his wife said that at some point he had given her a drink and she felt sick afterwards and had thrown up. And so cops are like, this is looking really suspicious. But the wife is also like, I think, honestly, I just overate. Like, it had never happened again or after that. Like, I think it was a one-time thing.
I would, the way my life would turn a corner if I got dragged to the police station to be like, no, I just shouldn't eat that much potato salad after rotisserie chicken Thursdays. And I know that.
Now, it was really the 6-pack of mini Pepsis that did it.
I love us working rotisserie chicken from the grocery store into the same
everything.
sentence as Tylenol.
Hell yeah. So I don't think he was ever detained. I do think his house was searched. Either way, after this whole thing is over and he's cleared, Roger is fucking pissed.
At?
Marty.
Okay.
Marty
Sinclair,
yeah.
the bar owner in Chicago.
In the Lincoln Park bar.
Who mentioned to the law enforcement, I know a guy who owns a lot of cyanide. You know, the thing that just killed a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes. Roger is pissed, and he, I think, is on the record, or at least someone quoted him. So someone heard him say this and then immediately went to the cops. I was like, I want to be involved in the killing of Marty Sinclair or something like that. Add me to the group
chat. I have things to say.
Yeah. Okay, and we're going to get sad for a second.
Oh, shit.
Sorry. So he is like, I'm going to kill Marty Sinclair. So he goes and kills Marty Sinclair.
Oh, okay.
And he's arrested. And
this is the closet chemist with a shit ton of cyanide and also several unregistered guns.
Yes.
Okay.
So he uses one of those guns, shoots Marty Sinclair. He's arrested, taken to the station for questioning, where the policeman hands him an ID of a man he does not recognize. And that's how Roger learns he killed the wrong man. Yeah. Yeah.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
He killed a man named John Stanishaw.
What?
John Stanishaw.
I thought, listener, you did too. I know. I thought he just killed the wrong Marty Sinclair.
No, he killed the
like,
wrong
in Chicago, there's many
man.
people named Marty.
I think he knew Marty. I think he killed someone that looked kind of like Marty.
That's drugs.
Yeah.
That's pigeon and Prego. That's.
Like, what do you mean, pigeon and Prego?
That's clinically unwell.
If you missed the ketchup, you missed it. I'm not going to try and explain pigeon and Prego. I want a logo of pigeon and Prego.
And it's a bird trying to swim
out of the Prego.
It's just a horror movie for that bird's last couple of seconds.
You let me know if you make that logo. I'm going to put it on a t-shirt.
That shirt would go so hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it would. So John Stanishaw is unfortunately murdered in a case of mistaken identity. He is largely considered the 8th victim of the Tylenol murders. Yeah. Roger is sentenced to 30 years in prison for the killing, but is ultimately ruled out as a suspect of the Tylenol murders themselves, and he will pass away in 2008.
Wow.
Yeah. Crazy. So the cops are kind of like, I mean, we're going to jump back a second. Remember, Roger came on the scene around October 11th. So they're kind of filtering through all of this shit. But on October 6th, 1982, Johnson & Johnson receives an extortion letter.
Of course.
And I'm just going to let you read this.
Oh, because I'm the only one that can read a student's handwriting.
I mean,
Johnson & Johnson. Parent of McNeil Laboratories. Gentlemen. Ugh, it is the 80s. Gentlemen, as you can see, it is easy to place cyanide, both potassium and sodium, into capsules, sitting on the store shelves. And psych, the cyanide is inside the gelatin. I think it says psych.
Sure. I don't know.
Is inside the gelatin. It is easy to get buyers, there it is, to swallow the bitter pill. Another beauty is that cyanide operates quickly. It takes so very little, and there will be no time to take countermeasures. If you don't mind the publicity of these little capsules, then do nothing. So far, I have spent less than $50, and it takes me less than 10 minutes per bottle. If you want to stop the killings, then wire $1 million. That's it? Okay, sorry.
Not Grant being like, know your worth.
Broke ass. Sorry. Also because it's handwritten, so they have to 2 zeros around the cents too.
Yeah.
So I check initially was like $100 million.
Oh, and then you see the decimal and you're like.
And like my eyes are, like I read it twice. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
$1 million to bank account #84-49-597 at Continental Illinois Bank, Chicago, Illinois. Don't attempt. That's a do not, babes. And I literally like this. That's a do not a don't. Don't attempt to involve the FBI or local Chicago authorities. With this letter, a couple of phone calls by me will undo anything you can possibly do. Broke ass.
I hate that you did that because I think one of my next notes is like, not to say that I could do this crime better.
See, the tough thing is, after so long of this show together, you and I are both like, there's so many better ways to execute this crime.
We're like, white collar crime, count me in.
If they're going to turn your skin into a book, there's a couple of things I would do differently.
Honestly, Piss, they didn't invite me to the Louvre heist, but like, whatever.
Good. Okay. Well, so as long as we're like, these murders are a huge tragedy.
Yes.
Whose deaths are unwarranted.
And tragic.
And the person who might have done it is a fucking dweeb.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to make fun of them as much as I want. Okay. Right off the bat, to the authorities, this letter feels like it's probably legit, that it's probably coming from the perpetrator just because of the amount of cyanide.
They want it to be legit, or?
I mean, yes, but also they think, okay, who would know this much about cyanide? How did they know, like, how much time it would have taken? Or, like, there's a lot of extra details in here that feel like if it had come from someone who's just pretending, that it wouldn't have made sense, you know? Next note. However, not trying to say I would have done this crime better, parentheses, I mean the extortion, obviously. Why the fuck would you ask them to wire money as if that's not traceable?
It's the most paper trail way of getting a cash out.
And it's also just like, you're in the 80s. What do you mean you're not asking for cash?
Right. You already have an example of you rob a bank, you get the entire country to kind of want to sleep with you.
Yes.
You demand a helicopter and some sandwiches, right? Like, there's a blueprint for this.
People have done this before and they've done it better.
Patty Hearst can do it with a beret.
With a gun and a beret. A gun that may have even not been loaded.
Crazy that we titled that whole episode from a sassy line Karen Walker said in like a 1999 episode of Will and Grace.
Money and a gun.
And she had money and a gun. Okay, but anyway, no. But he wants money in the Central Illinois Bank.
Yeah, in exchange for not killing people.
I'm assuming Central Illinois Bank is famous for its international locations in countries without an extradition treaty with the U.S.
We would fucking hope.
And if so, that's a hardworking Midwestern businessman who hustled.
He found it, dude.
Central Illinois Bank is across the street from the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City, and everybody knows that.
And I had a deal that someone was going to wire that money and take out cash and then leave it behind a dumpster outside of that location.
We find it. We find the funny.
See, that's why I consolidated all the bad into one part.
And it was just the entire first half.
I was like, stay with me. I promise. I'm not going to end on a bad note. Okay, so obviously, law enforcement looks into that bank account. Duh. Like, what? Did you think that multi-billion, I don't know what Johnson & Johnson's valuation was in the 80s? Do you think that company
a lot less
wasn't...
during this experience.
Yeah. At least 300 million less.
Right.
So obviously law enforcement is going to look into the account number, and it's an account of a travel agency that is in the Chicago area, and it's called Lakeside Travel Agency, and it's owned by a man named Fred McCahey. Police go to Fred to question him, and they are quickly, exactly know how, but are very quickly able to be like, that wasn't you.
This guy has no idea what's going on.
Yeah. And so they're like, hey, does anyone hate you? Like, be honest. Would anyone try to frame you for this? You know, would anyone try and point us to you because they hate you?
How does one even answer that question? That is a nightmare fuel.
Okay, that's me extrapolating from what I saw because that's what I would ask.
Hey, do you know anyone in your life personally who'd want to see your life ruined forever?
Yeah.
Give us their name.
We would like to do vengeance for you.
Because I'm like, in many ways, it's an Uno reverse.
Yeah. We want to get some notes.
I have 2 exes from my late 20s that fundamentally reshaped how I define love in a negative connotation. Go ahead and check them out first.
And so Fred is like,
You're going to have to tell one of the girlfriends a lot of background information that I'm guessing she does not know. I got to stop drinking wine on this podcast.
listen, we might only exclusively be drinking wine from now on. I'm obsessed. Okay. Police go to Fred. They're like, who hates you? Fred's like, I actually know exactly who hates me. And he says, this man named Robert Richardson.
Okay.
While Robert Richardson never directly worked for Lakeside Travel Agency, Robert's wife, Nancy, did. Robert is the kind of guy who is fiercely loyal to a fault.
I thought the bank account belonged to,
Fred.
Fred.
Yes.
And this guy who hates him, his wife works for this.
Yep.
So how does Fred get connected to this bank account?
So it is Fred's account.
Okay, so he has an account with Lakeside Travel Agency?
No, the bank account is Lakeside's bank account.
Okay.
He owns Lakeside.
Bob does.
Fred
does.
Fred does.
Okay.
Fred previously had employed Nancy. Lakeside is no longer in business.
Great.
He had previously employed Nancy, Nancy's husband, Richard.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So when Lakeside went out of business, there was no money to be had, and so Nancy's last check bounced. And Richard took that personally.
Yeah, I get that. that.
And he was going to do something about it. And
I think usually it's small claims court, but okay.
If you want to be boring, I guess. So Nancy worked there, and so Robert would spend time with Nancy at Lakeside. And so a lot of the employees also were pretty well aware of him. And the employees are able to identify the handwriting in the letter as Robert's.
The guy whose wife got let go in her
Yes, and the extortion letter is definitely written by Robert.
It's just so, and I hate to be this way, but it's so many steps removed from the murders that I struggle to believe a man would pull that off.
So anyway,
okay.
Robert may have many faults, but that man will die on any hill for Nance.
Okay.
Unfortunately for Fred McCahey, that is the hill that he wants his wife to be paid. And so the police head out to the Richardsons' house. They are out of town, so coincidentally. And however, the police are able to find a recent photo of Robert.
Okay.
Because he had recently written an article for a paper. So I'm going to show you this photo, and then you can scroll out.
That guy was at the grocery store.
Yeah.
That guy was disheveled at the grocery store also. And I know it was just a look at the time in the 80s. Those glasses make you want to murder. Like those
are the Jeffrey Dahmer glasses.
Those glasses say I'm vice president of my bowling league, and when I failed to win election to president, I went on a path of violence.
And so next to it, you can see the.
Sorry, the second photo is just a little bit blurrier than the first one.
It's way blurry. So it's a zoom in. It's the best resolution version I could find of the zoom in of the guy at the grocery store who's staring at Paula Prince.
49% of the blurry photo. Grant Thomas today, 2025, is 49% of the blurry photo.
That's like
I said, 49%. Yeah. There I am, beard, needs glasses, in a grocery store. Okay, there's a decent chance
blurry,
it's Thursday.
You're not seeing blurry.
My eyes are going, and it makes driving at night so pretty.
Legally, that was a joke.
Also, like metaphorically, is a joke. I keep doing tests where I'll look at like small writing and I'll be like, can I read that? And then I'll be like, yeah, my eyes are fine. I probably have astigmatism though.
Don't we all at this point?
Thank you.
Yeah, me and Casey both.
Right. You drive at night.
Yeah, I have contacts. I don't know what the fuck you want from me. I've been wearing these babies since 5th grade.
Good.
So police see the photo of Robert Richardson. And they're like, that looks like the guy from the grocery store.
Yeah, it
And
does.
so they're like, we got this guy. And so they're like, they can't find him, obviously, because the Richardsons were not at their house. They're technically now fugitives of the law because they have like probable cause to arrest them.
Okay.
And so police plaster this image fucking everywhere, hoping that someone is like, oh my God, I know that guy. He's staying at my buddy's house or whatever like that. One guy does in fact see it, who recognizes Robert Richardson. And he calls the FBI and he says, that's not Robert Richardson. That's not Nancy. That's James Lewis and his wife, Leanne Lewis.
Oh, he's like, I don't know who these names are, but I know for a fact who those
James
people
Lewis.
are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Turns out James Lewis, 17 aliases.
I now believe a man could do it.
Yeah, right,
Okay.
right. So, if you'll remember, dear listener, James Lewis is our probable murderer from the beginning of this episode.
Right.
So we'll pick up after he got off that charge for killing Raymond West.
How many years ago was that before the Tylenol murders?
4, I believe.
Oh, in my mind, it's 2 decades.
No, I believe
has
it was
3 summers.
78. Okay. Let me make sure before I say shit. Where did I write this date? Yeah, 78.
Okay.
78. Yeah, he gets off because he was not read his Miranda rights. And I told you the story at the beginning to give you an idea of the person James Lewis is. He, like I said, fiercely protective, will die on any hill, like definitely 120% to a fault, to like an awful fault. I personally believe he was on the spectrum.
Okay.
Not only because Tony was born on the spectrum, but just because he's interviewed in the Netflix documentary and like he probably likes
Wait,
trains.
probable murderer agrees to an interview?
He was never charged with that murder. He's never charged with the Tylenol murders. He's never, I'll just say this. There is one other crime that is brought up. There's honestly quite a lot of like, just like weird shit in his childhood. He is accused of a rape in 2004. I'm not going to go into the details, not to try and erase what he did or try and play lighthearted of what he did, more to protect the victim because it didn't seem like there was a ton of information about that specific case.
Okay.
And also, if I'm going to cover something like that, I want to do its due diligence. And there was just not the space in this story for that. The case gets dropped because the victim at the last minute refuses to testify.
Okay.
So he gets off on, at this point, 3 things that he is highly suspected of.
Okay.
So at times, James is a kooky guy. Humans are inherently nuanced and complex, and he was a criminal. And if I try and poke fun at him or who he is or what he does, it is not me trying to make light of the severity of his crimes. I just want to get that out there. In the late 70s, after he gets off from, or like does not get charged with the murder of Raymond West, fast forward to 1981, the year before the Tylenol murders, there is a lot of credit card fraud and ID theft that is being reported. And the only common thread is that the people who were victims of this all had their taxes done by Lewis & Lewis.
Oh, so they had access to the social security number and the home address and okay.
Yep. So the police get a warrant to search the Lewis house. They find a notebook basically detailing the like scheme of the credit card, the like fraud schemes that they were doing. And also they find a bunch of draft extortion letters.
So they were like, we're going to charge both ends of the spectrum on this one. We're going to get it from the credit card company.
This is before the Tylenol murders.
No, I know.
Oh,
But,
she's
like,
saying we're going to get it from the credit card company and the people.
And then we're going to get it from the people whose identity we have stolen.
Yep.
Our clients.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And so there's a bunch of extortion letters, which are written by James to large companies, basically threatening them and hoping to get money out of it.
Okay.
By the time they process all of this, the police are like, yeah, we got this guy on mail fraud, for sure. So they go back to his house, and at that point, James and Leanne have left. Theoretically, I think they're moving from Kansas City to Chicago at this point.
Naturally.
After that escape, they have been fugitives ever since.
Okay.
They look at the letter which was sent to Johnson & Johnson that was received on November 6th, and it is postmarked from New York City, October 1st.
Okay.
So if you'll remember, the guy who owns Lakeside Travel was like, it's Robert Richardson. They go to the Richardsons' house. The Richardsons are not there.
Right.
So at this point, they have already left for New York City.
Right.
So
late enough that the murders have happened, but it hasn't been traced to them yet.
Murders have not happened. We'll talk about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Gets really complicated. So The letter is postmarked from New York City on October 1st, so a couple days after the murders. But they want to find James Lewis, and New York City is a huge city, so how do they track him down? Luckily, James Lewis makes it almost easy for them by mailing another fucking letter to the Chicago Tribune saying, hey, so I see that you think I did the murders. Totally get that. My bad. I wrote the extortion letter. Did not do the murders. Yeah.
Hey, I know you think I'm guilty of murder and blackmail.
Only blackmail.
Sorry, just
the blackmail.
Innocent mistake.
It's just kind of what I do.
Bygones be bygones.
I just really like writing extortion letters.
And is it
and
even
really hate that guy who runs Lakeside.
And is it even really blackmail if I didn't
do
it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so at this point, the police are like, okay, well, we now know he reads the Chicago Tribune because he's probably going to look for his letter to be published or whatever. And so what they do is they find everywhere in the 5 boroughs of New York City that sell the Chicago Tribune, give all those places a photo of James Lewis and say, you let us know if he stops by. They catch him at a New York City public library.
Hell yeah, public libraries.
I don't know if they caught him there. They do
Both
see him
for
there.
Resources and for being safeguards of our community.
The guy that they interview who saw him is the most boring person I've ever listened to. And I was like, that man works at a library.
Amazing.
Yeah. That second letter that had been sent to the Chicago Tribune was also postmarked from New York City. And truthfully, I get the impression James was never playing coy about writing that letter. He was like, absolutely, I wrote the letter. 100%. I absolutely wrote the letter.
His strategy was fess up to that instantly.
He never said anything to the tune, well, like I might have written that. The other thing that really cues me into him being on the spectrum, regardless of if he did the crime or not, is the police are like, okay, if you did do the crime, how would you have done it?
Right.
As a way to like try and get him to like start being prideful or whatever, as like serial killers or people like this are.
Right.
And he legitimately like helped or like tried in his mind to help them and be like, well, this is how I would do it. And he like drew diagrams and like all this shit. And
how accurate was he?
I don't know. I didn't do a huge deep dive into that. But so the police were kind of like, I mean, that's weird. But I mean, like, yeah, it's weird, but I really like spreadsheets. So I just offered to fix Grant's
The police
spreadsheet.
are like, it's weird, but it's not actually a crime.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and he also didn't like give them anything to assume he was guilty off of. In an interview, he would later say, I could send a letter to the Roman Senate and say, give me 1 million gold pieces and I will stop the killing of Caesar. But that doesn't mean that I killed Caesar.
No, it just means you won $1 million.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okay. And so, from the Lewis's perspective, him and Leanne had like literally just moved to New York City.
Okay.
Like they had left Chicago on September 3rd, and that is pretty well documented.
Okay.
The murders, if you remember, happened on the 29th.
Of October or September?
September.
Okay.
So he saw the news. They're in New York City. They're at like, I think a hotel before they maybe move into an apartment or something. And he saw the news break about the extortion letter. And he's like, shit, I'm going to have to tell Leanne about the letter that I wrote.
Hey, babes, I did this funny thing.
You're going to think it's hilarious.
Eventually we'll laugh.
Yeah.
But right now you're going to be angry. And that's fine. You just can't go to the police.
And apparently, according to him, again, I don't have her side of the story, she was like despondent for like days or
like
something.
Furious at him.
Like would not get up and would only say, how could you do this every once in a while to him.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
like,
something I should incorporate into my classroom more.
How could you
do this?
When someone loses at the tournament.
Yeah. How could you do this?
That would not go well.
Just stab. And emotionally. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Twist,
I could talk about stabbing, but that doesn't mean I stab.
Here's how I would stab if I had to stab.
Yeah, exactly. And like, sorry, regardless of, I know this is a very severe case. I'm understanding that, saying that. I love the idea that a murderer is telling his wife about a letter he wrote, and she gets so mad and he feels so bad that she then makes him write another letter apologizing to a news source.
I'm sorry I blackmailed you without any... Listen, I get it. That's maybe one of the only ways I could start moving forward.
Yeah. I have no idea if she made him do that or not, or if that was his own accord. That's funny to me. So James Lewis is finally arrested for extortion.
Right.
Not the Tylenol murders. They don't have anything on him for that. But they do. He admitted to writing the letter. So they arrest him. And if you were listening carefully, you'll probably notice that there's a potential issue with James being the leading suspect in this case.
Is it that he's out of town when it happens?
It's that he wasn't living in Chicago when it happens. So let's walk through the timeline. James and Leanne leave their place in Chicago on September 3rd or 4th, and they take the Amtrak to New York City, officially arriving in New York City on September 20th at like whatever hotel that they're staying in. Maybe they made a road trip out of it. The murders start the morning of the 29th with Mary Kellerman.
Oof, okay.
The bottles, which would allegedly have become contaminated, would have arrived in stores between the 20th and the 23rd.
What? Say that again?
So the bottles are being shipped to the stores.
Okay.
By the time they make it on the shelf, it's September 20th to 23rd.
And they're arriving in New York on the 20th.
On the 20th. And so police are they're like scouring train tickets.
Proof that he was in New York on the 20th?
Mm-hmm. But I mean, technically he could have come back because what they're saying is police deduce that the contamination of those pills had to have happened around the 28th because cyanide would have reacted with the gelatin.
Sure, it would have melted. Right.
And so they're trying to prove that he flew back to Chicago or took a train back to Chicago.
It's an even smaller window. It's like he's in New York, but if we can prove that he then came back quickly, did something, and then went to New York again.
Yeah. Because remember, then the letter is postmarked October 1st in New York City.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And the murders happen on the 29th because the pills are being poisoned on the 28th.
Probably. Yeah.
So 28th, 29th, 30th is kind of like an open day.
Yeah.
And then the 1st is when the letter gets mailed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
When is... I mean, obviously it's covered. But part of me is like, he only sent the letter after the murders have been revealed, right?
I mean, they were revealed on the 30th, so...
So he would have written it that night.
It would have been public knowledge by the 30th.
Okay.
Yeah. So the police try and prove by looking through train logs, plane tickets, whatever, to try and prove that Lewis came back to Chicago in time for the killings. And there is a timeline issue. Yep.
Hold on. There's also a motive and cause issue, right? If he's saying I did the extortion but not the crime, then it explains the letter. Mm-hmm. But the letter only essentially tries to get his former wife's employer, Fred, in trouble.
Arrested,
and then maybe also money for himself.
Yeah.
And so bad news bears, but actually he's maybe now spinning this national tragedy into a way to get back at a person he never forgave. And the actual link between the letter and the crime, there's a gap there.
So...
Okay, right? But
yes, you're right. The police think his motive is that, remember, his daughter died.
Right.
The stitches that gave out on her heart were produced by Johnson & Johnson.
Okay.
However, other people will then say there is no way he would have known that.
Right. I mean, I wouldn't have assumed.
Yeah. So you can assume he hyperfixated and figured out who had manufactured them and all of his grief and stuff and made it his whole life's thing. But then he's killing people and he's not actually going to get anything out of it. So it still confuses the whole motive. And it's not even
necessarily the way his daughter died. Granted, I don't know a serial killer's murder motivations is not an area I'm an expert in.
Yeah.
But that feels a little too far away from home to scratch the itch, for lack of a better word. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a super creepy guy who almost positively did a murder,
at least
most recently in the past.
And definitely a sexual assault, probably.
Right. And
probably
who's a pathological liar who viewed this horrific national tragedy as a chance to get back at an unsuspecting man.
Yes.
And also in the process, divert police resources. Mm-hmm. But the link between him and the crime is a lot less clear than I thought it was going to be 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same. Yeah.
Okay.
When we got to this part, I was like, man, this isn't a funny story.
No. It's
actually, it was all the murders where I was like, damn.
Also not a funny story.
It was, truthfully, it was the dismembered body parts where I was like,
that also was detailed.
Yeah.
Yes.
I couldn't have not talked about the dead body.
No, it's good. I'm glad to have it. I feel like I have the whole context right now. But unfortunately, the perfect suspect has some serious holes in what, at least as we understand it.
Yes. And I couldn't find any decent connections. There are some people who really strongly believe James Lewis is the perpetrator still to this day.
I mean, is there a world where he just rents a car and drives down, does the murders, and drives back? I mean, there's ways to get from Chicago to New York that's not train or plane.
I think they might have checked security cams and stuff like that. I don't know.
Okay.
And there's also a chance he had changed his name because he had all those aliases, and so they wouldn't have
he just
been
has
able
a
to
different
track
alias
it.
that he traveled back and forth.
It's
and then that would then solve the issue.
Yeah.
Again, doesn't maybe get to the heart of motive, but does give him the ability to.
But you do think, I mean, this case is still open today. You would think with all of this time, they would have been able to scour all of that security cam footage. They would have been able to figure out what his aliases were and track those down through those same records.
Because also, if we are assuming he is guilty for that first murder back in Kansas City, he was not a mastermind of executing it.
Also, my big thing is that, put it however you want. It could have been premeditated. That's a violent crime.
Yes, it is.
You're going to tell me a man who has that kind of inclination for violence, and from all the serial killers,
post-death violence, still,
yes, all of the serial killers that at least I've learned about, or all the mass murderers or whatever, they tend to have an MO.
Right.
Whether or not it's an identifiable MO, it's an MO in they. BTK, blind torture kill. They have Jeffrey Dahmer had a specific thing that he would do, dates, and the clown guy locked a bunch of people in his basement. This guy, the Tylenol murders does not add up with what we do know about his violent nature.
Sure.
That's my personal opinion.
But his violent nature does mean he fails to cover his tracks.
True.
Because again,
what the fuck Raymond West was gone for 3 weeks, and he put a note that said, I'm going to be in the Ozarks for 3 to 4 days.
But also where he disposed of Raymond West's body, especially in a place so close to rural communities like Kansas City, Missouri, where it's there are places that would be a lot harder to find than in the victim's own home, where
it's 100% going to get found.
Right.
Yeah.
And so a person who would do something like that, and I know the justice system found him, did not charge him fully or whatever. So his innocence
technically
is
alleged.
illegally
He's passed
established.
Now, if it makes you feel better about saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's let's go ahead and take what I think we feel is the most likely scenario, which is that he did that crime.
Yeah.
That wasn't a leave no trace Dexter's kind of murder.
I mean, it was almost immediately obvious the second anyone outside of his circle saw him,
Yeah.
They were that man's being weird.
Yeah.
So we are going to poke one hole in his story, though.
Okay.
At some point in an interview, he is asked how long it took him to write the extortion letter, because he had to do research on the cyanide and whatever else that was involved in finding. I mean, this is the 80s. He had to go somewhere to find the address to send it to, had to figure out who owns Tylenol, who owns that company that makes Tylenol, all that stuff. And so he says 3 days. So
he would have done it on the 28th.
Mm-hmm. Or the 29th, depending on your...
he sends it on the 1st, the 27th.
Yeah, so the 27th or the 28th, yeah.
So the day before he plans it, or the day he plans it.
So, my personal take, and I am obviously a little biased in that I think there's a chance he didn't do this crime, is I think he did the classic male thing and exaggerated for self-importance. He was being asked how long it took him to do something that he feels proud of.
And he was like, it was a hard thing to do.
It was really hard. And he
took him an afternoon. Yeah. He wrote it at the library where he gets the letter, and the Chicago Tribune probably has the address. And what better place to research cyanide than at a library, the pre-internet?
Yes.
Especially if you are unemployed.
Yep. That's my personal take. A lot of people will say that means he had a knowledge of the crime before the crime. But then also you're saying that when did he write the letter? If he was driving from Chicago to New York City, it still couldn't have taken him 3 days after he had done the
Right. If he had driven there himself, how is he driving back then so quickly and writing the letter?
This 3-day letter.
And mailing it.
Yes. It's just kind of a lot. And yes, there is a reality wherein James Lewis did this. For sure, I see that as a possibility. From the evidence I have been presented, and I understand the Netflix documentary has likely presented it in a certain way, I don't know that he is my personal top suspect.
That's interesting. No, that really is. Because
Right?
here's the thing, too. I think men, like myself, at least, want it to be him.
Yeah,
Want it to be
right?
clearly him.
Right?
You know?
Yeah, you want it to at least be identifiable.
A gross monster whose motives are beyond our comprehension.
Yeah, we don't understand
and
it.
whose kind is not like us.
Yes.
You know? Like clean, easy, makes me feel better about it. Bad guy already.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Already, like, undeniably a bad person.
Pinnable.
Yeah. So James Lewis is never charged with the Tylenol murders, as I've kind of said. He was charged with extortion. However, it's also, I think in the court case, the like definition of extortion was brought into play because James Lewis probably likely knew that even if this whole thing got pinned on Fred McKay, he personally, like James Lewis, would not make any money from this. So then what is the definition of extortion? Like, do you have to see personal gain from it? Or is it just like, you know, whatever? Is
it like criminal lying?
Yes, exactly. And so essentially he's just trying to frame Fred McKay because he hates Fred McKay. And this is a quote from James. Quote, "The letter itself is not illegal unless you have intent, and there was no way I could have had any intent there. It was a closed bank account. It was a Continental Illinois bank account. I had no more access to that bank account than one of you gentlemen here." He's like talking to the interviewers. And then he said, "I tried to do something good, but I got it all screwed up." No, you didn't.
I don't know what your relationship with your wife is, but I don't. Well, you know, like that's the motive.
Like, I mean, she literally says, "How could you?
How could you do this?
How could you do this?
How could you do this to me?"
And he's like, "Oh shit."
Wait, babe, no, stop walking away.
No,
I turned this national tragedy into
something about you because I love you.
Right?
Yes.
I moved to New York for you.
Yeah. She's like,
"Who are you? Who am I talking to right now?
You write a letter to Chicago Tribune right now.
You write our local government about what you've done."
So Lewis is convicted and sentenced to 10 years for extortion.
Okay.
I don't know if it was 10 years. It might have been more than that.
Great.
I don't know. He's sentenced to whatever the max sentence was for extortion. Because I think I wrote that he's spent 10 years, but then I think I read a source that he said he spent only 13 years of maybe a 20-year sentence. I don't know. Whatever.
Great.
Anyway, despite not having locked James Lewis up for the murders, law enforcement does feel like they got their guy, their killer. And therefore, the public kind of feels a little bit more relaxed, thinking that this madman is behind bars, regardless of how he got behind bars.
He gets how long again?
10 or whatever the max sentence is, either 10 or 20 years. I'm not sure on the source.
For criminal lying?
For extortion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't pose any financial gain.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone in that courthouse knew what the police were trying to get him on.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And they were like, sure.
Yeah, we'll throw you a bone, police officer.
Yeah. I do think good and also like really interesting our legal system.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Trigger warning, this is our last death.
Okay.
Just so you know. This next section is called Another Victim. February 8th, 1986.
It's like, what, 4 years later?
4 years later, if you're doing the math, our boy James Lewis is behind bars. This is in Yonkers, New York City. 23-year-old Diane Ellsroth is staying with her boyfriend and isn't feeling well. So she takes some extra strength Tylenol and heads to bed. She is found dead the next morning.
How?
Exactly.
The cyanide would have eaten through the gels years ago.
And her package had the 3 layers of tamper-proofing.
Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fresh package she opens up.
Yep.
It's not like boyfriend poisoned the Tylenol and then waited for her to take it.
Yep. I think the investigators are able to somehow like kind of deduce that the tamper-proofing had not been like meddled with prior to
her opening it all up and taking it.
Yes. So people are speculating how this could have happened with all of the tamper-proof packaging.
I mean, does Leanne still live in New York?
I'm not sure. I have no idea what happened to her, in all honesty.
Okay.
Johnson & Johnson, because of all the tamper-proof packaging Johnson & Johnson uses, Johnson & Johnson is quick to start the narrative that there is another madman on the loose contaminating their Tylenol.
Sure, intentionally contaminating
their Tylenol, just like in the 1982 cases. And like how? Because also their primary suspect, the big bad guy, James Lewis, is in jail.
Right.
Like there is no way he was not in jail. Shortly after, 2 more triple sealed bottles are found to be contaminated with cyanide.
In Yonkers?
I believe in that area at least, yeah. The district attorney is not convinced that Johnson & Johnson does not hold any liability or guilt in this scenario.
Like disgruntled employee or...
Something, yeah. Especially in Diane's case, because, again, they cannot pinpoint a method or a motive for anyone. So that leaves someone that was there before the package gets sealed. Right?
All the way back to the manufacturer.
Yes. And despite this, in 1988, a court ruled that Johnson & Johnson wasn't liable for Diane Ellsroth's death. The court ruling cited FDA and FBI reports claiming that the most likely cause was someone tampering with the bottles in a way which was not detectable. And this is because the DA was not able to determine where any tampering occurred or where the cyanide entered the system.
Again, one of the situations where like our legal system is just so interesting, even if that's not the result that you want, right? That like you can't be found guilty if you don't have anything that we can like point to as proof.
Yeah. And James Lewis said, quote, "They're barking up the wrong tree, and as long as they continue to do this, it absolutely guarantees that they will never solve the Tylenol homicides."
And he's like, "By the way, I'm so sorry for extorting the Chicago Tribune. Please let me out."
This is after he's released. He gets released in 95.
Okay.
And then the last public interview he ever gives is for this Netflix documentary that I got a lot of these quotes from. This next section is called The Case Against Johnson & Johnson.
Okay.
My personal case against Johnson. Just kidding. Everyone's case against Johnson & Johnson. Random weird side note, Jim Burke of Johnson & Johnson received the Presidential Medal of Freedom from Reagan for how Johnson & Johnson handled this. Also, they received, I believe, an award from some kind of marketing agency for the way that they were able to like rebrand and regain public trust.
It's like Trump giving the Chipotle CEO the Medal of Freedom for solving the E. coli outbreak he started.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's just like, it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth where you're
does.
like, stop giving fucking awards like this to CEOs.
Yeah.
So first of all, just to set the scene, Johnson & Johnson owns McNeil. McNeil makes Tylenol. So McNeil is technically the patent holder on Tylenol. Johnson & Johnson acquires them. Tylenol is their largest selling profit. I believe 20% or more of their profits are tied up in Tylenol at this point. So if they lose Tylenol...
That's big.
They kind of lose it all.
Right.
You know? So some people think that when the news of the Tylenol murders breaks, some of the execs may have suspected early on that they hold some responsibility.
Oh, shit.
And they were worried that they would lose the trust of the public in their brands if it came out that they were somehow in any way responsible.
Right.
From the beginning, Wayne Nelson, who is like an exec, is outspoken saying that Johnson & Johnson is being targeted by a madman.
If you're being targeted by a madman, what did you do to piss him off? I went not to justify the crime.
No, I know, but you're a fucking corporation who's
right.
acquiring businesses that...
It's also like, okay, I want to do an A to Z comparison here. Mm-hmm. As a person who teaches 185 students, sometimes reports will be given to me about the behavior of one of my students.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's crazy. That's not the person that I know. And this is by no means a reflection of our systems.
Yes.
But I'm going to still investigate this. You've told me this. I'm going to come within like an honest approach to like, despite what I think is supposed to happen and what we say is supposed to happen, what happened.
Yes.
Right? And that's so small potatoes. It's in the ground still, you know? You're a multi-million-dollar pharmaceutical company. And instead of investigating who has access to your manufacturing plants, who has access to the products before they get bottled and things like that, you were like, we have done nothing wrong ever.
It could not have possibly happened in our facilities.
I don't even want to poison people. I just want to extract money from people who have been poisoned.
And
I'm a pharmaceutical company.
Gain profits from the company that we acquired that owns the patent on our best-selling product.
But notably, big enough legal difference for us to cut them from the herd and be free of all liability if we, of course, need to.
Why would you need to, you know? So going back to the toxicologists that investigated the facilities, the facilities that they investigated were only investigated for a couple of hours, which if you've been in any manufacturing plant ever, that's maybe enough time to figure out where like the palletizer is and versus where the filler is and like understand the process. That is not enough time to do an analysis of if there is like chemical exposures in where the product is open.
This really was a Venn diagram for you of some of your special interests.
Sometimes I don't know how I got into manufacturing. Sometimes I look around and I'm like, why am I in a 1 million square foot plant that bottles soda? That's crazy. Why am I upset about this Costco pallet that I'm seeing? Because that's not a structurally sound pallet design. Whatever. It's fine. I don't know why I'm here. So Tylenol, immediately after the news breaks, is immediately on the forefront being like, someone is targeting Tylenol, someone's contaminating us. Also, there is no cyanide used anywhere in or near the manufacturing of Tylenol.
They're just confident about that.
Yep. And then, quote, testing for lead encompasses use of potassium cyanide. Test facilities are approximately 500 feet from the line where Tylenol ingredients, bottles, and packaging are brought together.
So at the exact moment of fusion, 500 feet away, we're testing...
potassium cyanide. We're testing some of our product for lead with potassium cyanide. If it makes any of you feel better, I did some Googling on lead testing, and apparently it's not like, this isn't how it's done anymore. So I don't think potassium cyanide is used in this kind of quality control. But in this moment, yikes.
I'm also like not concerned about air contamination, but I am worried about a disgruntled employee walking over with a handful of capsules and literally putting them into
it would have been
the
so
conveyor
easy.
belt.
So easy. 4 days after the death, this is maybe my favorite gotcha I have ever read about. Cook County Medical Examiner reveals that cyanide was present near the manufacturing process with that quote, and Tylenol says, small quantity, but it's kept under lock and key. So it's like, there's no way it could have happened. It could have been exposed. And then it's revealed that that's not true either.
You don't have any systems in place.
It's actually not really under lock and key. Like, that might be your system. That doesn't mean it's being followed.
Sure. It's the classic, okay, so the corporate isn't going to tell you to do it this way, but here's how I do it.
Okay, I have a quick story. I had an internship one summer, and at the end of the summer, they had like a thing. All the interns had to give a presentation that was like, what's one thing that we could improve upon that you saw while you were out in the field?
Healthy.
Yeah, very healthy. I had a picture that I had taken from site of a not like really, really serious like safety violation, but definitely people doing something that they shouldn't be doing with a forklift and
OSHA
a
violation.
very heavy piece of equipment. And I showed that to them and they went, well, they're not allowed to do that. Motherfucker, what?
There is no war in Bossing Say.
Yeah.
Those 18 students all told me they were going to the bathroom. I don't know what more you want.
I think I like looked at the picture and like looked back at them and was like,
no, you're right. I'll delete the photo.
Okay, cool. Anyway, medical examiner asks them then, quote, do you ever test for the cyanide in your Tylenol? And they say, yes, it's always a negative. And he says, why are you testing for cyanide in your Tylenol? Right?
It was a trick question.
Right? So good.
Well, yeah. Do you have any idea how close it is to our Tylenol?
Yeah. I was like, damn, I didn't even see that coming.
That's how you cross-examine a witness.
Yeah. Wow.
I had to today coach 2 kids on how to do the perm in the shower Legally Blonde monologue. And at the end of it, I was like, and that's how that scene is done. And they go, okay.
We've never seen it. We're 14.
The movie's older than us.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Welcome to my life.
No.
Well. So why are you testing it? That was the cliffhanger.
Yes. It's just so funny. And that the medical examiner was like, and they were like,
and then he was like, and I would like to see those negative test results.
A little bit, yeah. So the next little section I have is evidence handling. I think this may have been uncovered by Michelle Rosen, who is the 8-year-old daughter of Mary Reiner, who collapsed in front of her.
Right.
And so she has made it her... I think she like full-time works on this case now.
Still even?
At least as of the documentary, which came out, I think was published in like 23, 24, or filmed in 23, 24, and then came out in 25. I've told you guys that whenever I do a true crime, I'm going to donate to something related to this. I've been trying to find a way to donate to Michelle Rosen or like one of the victims' families, yet to find something like that. So that's
the
to come.
organization.
Check our show notes. It'll be there if I've found it by any point. But I'm working on it. And so she's going through the like police reports and stuff from the time around the murders, and she finds that there is a police officer on a midnight shift on September 28th.
Okay.
So the day before. And they're like stopping to get food or something, and he's like walking out of his police car with his partner, and he sees a bunch of like, there's like a box, like a big box of extra strength Tylenol, and some of it's like on the ground, and there's like powder everywhere. And I mean, like at face value, that's not a crime.
Right.
You know?
It's weird, but it's not
weird.
a crime.
And so I think he's like maybe joking with his partner, and he's like, what's that? And his partner's like, a drug deal. I don't know. Let's go. And which hindsight, fucking hilarious for a Chicago cop to say.
Great use of the word drugs.
Yeah. And so they sit down. However, the first officer who had seen it had maybe like touched it or like been too close, and he starts feeling sick.
Okay.
And he starts showing symptoms similar to cyanide poisoning, but no connection is initially made between the two because, I mean, it takes him a while to even figure out that the murders themselves are cyanide.
And he ends up being okay?
He ends up being fine, yeah. Okay. He's interviewed in the documentary. Much later, there is a connection that's made between like that sighting and the cyanide murders, and say they go back to that parking lot and they're able to collect whatever's left of what's there. And so I think around 200 pills are tested, but no cyanide is detected. And so that's just weird. But according to Richard Brzezinski, who is the Chicago PD superintendent, those pills that were found in the parking lot were he sent them to the Illinois State.
Like the guy who found them was like, this was weird.
No, the superintendent, like once they make all that connection, he sent someone to go back and get the pills. They come back and they're like, okay, send that to the Illinois State Police Crime Lab to get them tested for cyanide.
Okay.
He then finds out that they have been countermanded and then redirected to some City of Chicago Health Department facility.
What?
Yeah. And remember, those test results come back completely negative despite the fact that police officer had a reaction similar to cyanide poisoning.
Right. So are you saying Johnson & Johnson had someone on the inside and forced it to be redirected to a facility that couldn't test it?
All cyanide testing was done for police by Johnson & Johnson.
Oh, they would do it for free for them, would they? Mm.
Yep. And if you'll remember, they also were like...
Literally Reagan's America. Like, couldn't imagine a better analogy, but okay, continue.
They were also like, don't worry, we'll incinerate all of the contaminated pills and recalled pills for you guys.
We'll make sure it's taken care of.
Yeah.
And the police were like, great, here's a huge box of evidence.
Yeah, we don't want to deal with it. I mean,
go ahead and work through it for us.
If you've ever tried to throw away a mattress or a couch, like personally, I get it. It's fucking exhausting to try and get rid of shit.
I actually oftentimes when I reach the end of a furniture cycle, move homes and leave it.
You're like, I'm not.
Goodbye, home. Enjoy this couch. I have no idea what's going to happen to you. You buy a new home, biggest relief. There's no large furniture that was left for you.
So true.
And also all those photos, or like not photos, but like movies where like they take over like an old palace or like an old house or an old mansion, and there's just some old ass mattress in the middle.
Someone just didn't want that shit.
Yeah, no, that's what it is.
They were like,
they had nowhere to put it.
Yeah. Yep. So Tylenol understood from the start, or Johnson & Johnson rather, understood from the start that in order to control this narrative, in order to maintain like the public trust in their brand, they needed to control that story fucking immediately. And so the number of contamination cases needed to be small in number and geographic area. Hypothetically, if we're looking from the perspective of Johnson & Johnson and they think, I mean, there's a chance, at least even if we're not responsible, that people are going to think we're responsible. Okay. And so this is the easiest way for us to be able to pin it on somebody else. It needs to have been able to be done by a person or a group of people. So it needs to be like relatively small. And in order to kind of make that happen, they made sure they tested everything.
But I thought all of the Tylenol that was contaminated came from manufacturers across the country.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that it couldn't be tested by somebody else.
But I'm still curious as to who is poisoning it to begin with. Like, is Johnson & Johnson maybe negligent at the end when it comes to like collecting the evidence and stuff?
I think that's 100% the case.
Agreed. And does that then probably make the investigation a little bit harder? Also, yes. But does not actually answer the question of who poisoned the Tylenol to begin with.
Oh, I don't think anyone poisoned it. I think Johnson & Johnson had a shit manufacturing process.
But wouldn't the cyanide have eaten through the gel caps?
I don't think that that's actually true.
At all?
I think it's possibly true if it was like a huge amount of cyanide.
Okay.
But I don't know that it's true if it was a small amount. And honestly, that feels like a very convenient fact. And I, truth be told, did not do like a ton of digging into cyanide's reaction with like that kind of gelatin. But like, if there were one fact I could assume the police added in, or a medical examiner added in to point investigators and the public to James Lewis, that would be it.
So I'm hearing all this. This is not even me trying to play
good.
devil's advocate. This is me just trying to like,
Yeah.
here are things I remember from tonight's episode. One of them was that like, it looked like the gel tabs had been reinserted into each other.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying someone in the Johnson & Johnson facilities is intentionally filling these tablets with cyanide?
I'm saying that cyanide probably, that's how it reacted with the gelatin anyway.
Oh, it was in it or around it.
Yeah.
Okay. Second, how does one let such huge quantities of cyanide into these pills?
I don't think it takes much to kill somebody.
Okay. Third, doesn't the case where a person is walking down the aisle and puts a handful of poison tablets into a bottle just sound more likely than just having one, or because one, like it ended up being like 1 or 2 poison pills in like thousands of bottles?
How then do you explain Diane Ellsworth?
How did she pass?
Same way. She consumed Tylenol pills. And
But
then
was she the one that got the pills from the hospital?
No, she is the one that happened 4 years after
Right.
the other pills. And then the 2 other bottles were contaminated as well with no indication of tampering. I think the idea of a disgruntled employee is highly likely, to be perfectly fair. I have a bit more cynicism towards manufacturing processes.
Sure.
Which I think is, its own thing. But I think there's a lot of unanswered questions. And I think part of the reason there are unanswered questions is because the FBI and the police got so laser focused and tunnel visioned onto James Lewis that they did not investigate Johnson & Johnson.
Part of me wonders, too, as I sit with this information, as I think about it, as I toss it back and forth, it feels a little bit like a poison version of the Unabomber. Okay.
Sorry, I'm going to say this now. In 2011, they do request DNA
from the Unabomber?
Ted Kaczynski, because they're like, he was in Chicago in 82.
Okay, I wasn't so far off about that.
So
but the
he was
thing
clear,
is,
to be clear.
if we don't find Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber just stays baffling. But because we find Ted, it ties a bunch of pieces together. Is there... You know what I mean? Like without a named, this is the person that was doing it. But also, it doesn't look like the Tylenol guy put out a manifesto.
No. So here is the other piece that is actually Michelle's point. Let's see where I wrote it. This is Michelle's point. Michelle is pretty clear in the documentary. I don't think
Michelle is the daughter.
The daughter of Mary Reiner. Yeah.
Her mom passed. Okay.
I don't think there's any love lost between her and James Lewis. I don't think she likes him at all. It also doesn't seem like she basically kind of ignores James Lewis for the most part. In her interviews, she's kind of like, I think the FBI fucked this case up.
Okay.
I think they were looking at the wrong guy. And because of that, they wanted him to be guilty so bad that they made him guilty in their eyes. And so what she says is, if you think about the fact that it was so difficult to pinpoint that it was cyanide. I mean, how many people maybe around the country consumed cyanide while they were driving a car and then got into a car crash? Maybe they consumed the pills and they were elderly and so it was attributed to something else. And they just didn't have the benefit. I mean, truthfully, if it wasn't for the Janus family that 3 people died in one day in one household.
That's such a good point.
Would we have even noticed that it was cyanide?
Hundreds of people die every day in Chicago. How do we connect them all together?
That 12-year-old died and that's tragic, but we have no idea why.
How are you connecting that to a new mother across town?
Yes.
Fair.
Yeah. That's the part that really got me where I was like, I don't have an answer, I also, I don't know. I can't say that it's Johnson & Johnson. I can't say that it's anybody. I don't think James Lewis has, I think he has an alibi, a decent enough alibi. And it's possible he did it. He's dead now, so we'll never know. But
you're saying like people could have been dying across the country from this for at least a couple of days.
Yeah, and no one would have known.
The Janus family specifically is what tied it together.
And then very quickly, Tylenol pulls all acetaminophen from the shelves nationwide.
And saving people who hadn't used it yet. And then it makes you think too, and now I'm into like my sociology brain a little bit, but it's like a person who buys Tylenol is probably buying it because they needed Tylenol and didn't have it.
Yes.
Right? So how many people, like they were 12 hours in first victims from these bad batches.
That then they turn over to the police.
I don't know if I'm sold, listener, by the way, but this is interesting. This is very interesting.
That's why it's so interesting is because it's unsolved, right? And so Michelle's other point is that her mom did not have a bottle of extra strength Tylenol.
Right.
She had these unit doses that are these like what are they, blister pouches?
Because how does that get poisoned by someone like James Lewis? Because it
comes from the hospital?
Yeah. Unless it's like literally a rogue nurse.
Or something. But then how do you put it back in the blister pouch? You know?
Oh, so she's saying the blister pouch alone is what shows that it was a manufacturing issue.
Yeah, because she probably had what she thinks happened, is she's pretty certain happened, is her mom came home with these like blister pouches of single dose extra strength Tylenol. And because she just had a bottle, she just kind of put the rest of them, like unblistered them and put them into her regular strength Tylenol bottle because they found. So she didn't have
these like loose leaf things.
Yeah, because she had extra strength and regular strength Tylenol in a regular strength Tylenol bottle.
But she got it from something that was at least theoretically tamper-proof.
Yeah, and that's extra strength Tylenol is what they give new mothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, if you get your wisdom teeth pulled, I thought I was getting Hydra, and instead I just got a horse pill Tylenol and a smoothie from my mom.
Fucking crazy, dude.
I know.
Especially.
All right.
Yeah. So let me see what I missed. Oh, this is I just kind of.
As I just started to quiz you.
No, and I like it. That it felt more natural. But James Lewis's other quote in regards to Tylenol or J&J destroying all of that Tylenol is that quote, "Only a mass murderer would want to destroy all the evidence. If you're serious about prosecuting somebody, you don't destroy millions of capsules that are involved in a criminal case. Johnson & Johnson is behaving in a way that seems to implicate them in the murders themselves."
You would think a company like Johnson & Johnson would be most likely to have the capacity to test every single bottle and trace where they were getting it from
if they wanted to.
Instead of just like batch burning them all up in an incinerator.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or, the other side of that coin is that they were scared that they were involved, truthfully did not understand how they were involved, and did not want to uncover that evidence and have that paper trail.
Right. They're like, two things need to happen. We need to destroy all this evidence, and our safety and procedures team needs to go
figure the fuck out
on these fucking manufacturers right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so
that feels like something a CEO would say too.
120%.
We're going to make sure this never happens and also never be legally culpable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Especially in Reagan's America.
Because fuck the drugs. Yeah, because Mary Reiner's also normal toxicology reports in regards to Mary Reiner's point about anyone could have been consuming this and we wouldn't have been able to pinpoint it on cyanide. Cyanide is not a normal test that is done in an autopsy because it's so uncommon. For example, Mary Reiner's death was listed as brain aneurysm, and the only reason that anyone was able to put together that it was cyanide was because of the other deaths that happened around the same time.
That day in the same region.
Yep. So this last section is just I put legacy ? After the fact ?
Our favorite section.
Yeah, legacy doesn't feel right.
It always feels so big when we're making the episode, and by the time we actually get to it, we're like, okay, well, this is just the odds and bits.
Just all the shit that I couldn't figure out how to fit in here.
Same experience. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. So, these are some quotes from the Netflix documentary that they play, on the black screen at the end of the episode.
Right.
Quote, "The Illinois Attorney General's office and Chicago police stated that the FBI blocked the release of dozens of documents containing interviews with Johnson & Johnson executives, citing an ongoing investigation," which is just classic fucking cold case shit.
Right.
So it's not unusual, but it never looks good. It never looks good. Another quote, "In 1983, families of the 7 Chicago area victims sued Johnson & Johnson, claiming the company knew Tylenol bottles were susceptible to tampering by third parties. Years later, Johnson & Johnson settled with the families for an undisclosed sum without admitting liability."
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of copycats in the months after the Tylenol murders in September of 1982. There were 270 reports of product tampering in the month after, and 36 were intense. There were a lot in the 1980s and 1990s. And again, we can't have nice things. We just can't.
As everyone puts 3 seals on their products.
Yes. Okay. Now everyone puts and keeps the fucking cotton in them for no reason. So this also ended up trickling down to affect Halloween, I found out. For us, dear listener, Halloween is this weekend. I know it was a few weeks ago for you guys, but there was already the urban legend of finding razor blades in Halloween candy. If you've heard this and thought it was real, every time I hear it, and then every time someone says that's an urban legend, I'm like, oh, right, that's an urban legend. But every time anyone says it, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's actually so scary, you know? Anyway, so this urban legend has been around for like almost a century now. It's largely accepted as being a false narrative, but you can imagine this incident, these Tylenol murders happening right before Halloween certainly did not fucking help.
Set people on edge.
Yeah. So a research study, fun fact, between 1958 and 1985 was conducted that was, quote, unable to find any substantiated report of a child being killed or seriously injured by a contaminated treat picked up in the course of trick-or-treating. There are several deaths of kids that happened around Halloween that were then publicly attributed to this thing. But then if you look into the medical records, it was actually an illness or infection or heart defect or
parental
whatever.
Abuse at home that's not covered in the news.
Yep. The only report of a child being poisoned by a piece of candy was a 8-year-old named Timothy O'Brien who ate some candy that contained cyanide. Unfortunately, it was his father. Yeah. Who was the perpetrator, who did it for insurance money, and then he was sent to death row.
It's always the boyfriend. It's always the husband. It's always the father.
It's
the man who has the most familial power in that person's life.
Yes, 100%.
And I'm not going to get into the tirade. You know our thoughts on it, but that's what it is. Start there. What it is. Oftentimes, most of the time, ending there.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So James Lewis is released in 1995. He continued to be a primary suspect for the Tylenol murders. The case is still technically open, and obviously the victims and their families still want justice. As I mentioned, Michelle Rosen is still working on the case, and I believe one of the what's the family name? Johnson? No. Fuck.
Family name of which family?
It is Janice. The Janice.
The family that lost 3 family members.
Yeah. So I believe there's also a family member of the Janice family that is also still publicly speaking out about it.
Advocating for the case.
Advocating for it. Yeah. In 2009, the FBI get a DNA sample from James Lewis. This is another reason that I don't think James Lewis is guilty, because if he was, they would have said so or done something about it. And instead, they haven't done anything about it, even after he has since passed. There was partial DNA samples on some of the Tylenol bottles, but at the time that they collected them, there was no way to analyze them. But now there is.
Okay.
The FBI has not revealed the results of the DNA, and while this could technically mean anything, it at least more points to that he didn't do it, or that the match was not his. Because if it was, I feel like they have enough circumstantial evidence at this point to be able to pin it all on him.
They desperately want to.
They want to, yeah. This is a quote from a journalist. Quote, "When you have a hammer in your hand, everything looks like a nail. Everywhere the investigators looked, they saw evidence of James Lewis being the killer, and they wanted it to be true." The interview that James Lewis gave in the Netflix documentary released in May of 2025 is the last interview he ever gave. To be fair, I do think he was also pretty conservative with the interviews that he did give.
Okay.
He passed on July 9th of 2023 before the release of the documentary. And let me be perfectly clear. James Lewis is most likely a murderer, most likely a rapist, and most definitely a criminal.
But maybe not this criminal.
And then in 2009, DNA was requested from Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, because of his familial ties to Chicago around the time. He was cleared. And then way back in 1983, Congress passed the Tylenol bill, which made it a federal offense to tamper with consumer products. And in 1989, the FDA established federal guidelines for making tamper-proof products and packaging.
Okay.
As a result of all of this. So next time you're struggling with the tinfoil opening, you can blame James Lewis, I guess, or
or Ted
Johnson and
Kaczynski
Johnson or
yeah.
whoever the fuck. I don't know.
I didn't know that they hadn't found a person.
Yeah.
It's because I mean, it happened before our lifetimes.
I always thought it was somebody.
Yeah, I thought they got it.
Same.
In fact, at one point felt like I was told that it happened in the Seattle area, which I guess was wrong.
It's possible there was other things. There was like countrywide. There, I can't remember. There was also like razor blades maybe found in like hot dogs or something that was like somehow connected to
apples,
this.
Which was crazy.
It's possible. I don't know.
But heard that it happened like I think in the Seattle land area, and then second that it was a woman who wanted her husband dead and needed to kill a couple other people to make it not look like she killed her husband.
That's honestly still highly possible.
I mean, also, yes, and unfortunate, but that is the narrative that I had in my head, and I couldn't tell you why.
It could have been a copycat.
Yeah. So fascinating to know at least the original Tylenol murders still remain such an open case.
It's also considered the first instance of domestic terrorism in the United States by a lot of people.
I could see that. Yeah. Even if we don't have the organization that like did it, they were trying to sow mass chaos.
Sorry, was that not clear?
We have to send in the National Guard.
It was Maha, actually. Sorry.
Okay, so how do you feel post case?
I'm glad it's over.
Did you know it was unsolved going into it?
I watched the Netflix documentary, and so because of the title, it says cold case in the title. I was like, what?
Right.
No. Also, I was like scrolling through watching like documentaries. There's a lot with this. So I watched episode 1 of this documentary while we were on that nightmare flight to New York where Lydia and I couldn't sleep.
And I'm passed
And you were passed out. So it's just playing and I'm waking up every like 2 minutes and they're like, and then another person died. And I'm like,
I want you to know I listen to liminal music in that environment. So just different approaches.
Well, I gave up after a while and just turned on a documentary. So I listened to Lo-Fi Girl on Spotify.
How'd that work out for you?
Not well. Not well. I was stressed that there were like, I don't know, 13 kids back there. And then, there was another documentary that I tried to watch called Making a Murderer. First episode is about Kenneth Waters. And I was like, I can't watch this.
Kenneth Waters.
The one that you covered who was exonerated by his sister, Betty Waters. Betty Ann Waters.
Yeah. Water Under a Bridge or something like that.
Water Under a Bridge. And then I like...
Thank you for reminding me of the episode I have done.
You're welcome.
We've done so many episodes at this point.
They like introduce him and I'm like, I can't emotionally handle this right now.
Because you know the ending.
Yeah.
There was no way to soften that for me. And it was like, the only way to soften it is to make so much of this sad up until then. So I'm just going to give you the highlight and then just drop you it.
See, I did the opposite thing.
Yeah, you did. Yes, you did.
See, it worked out.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I really fully understood that it was a cold case. My little depressy episode did not come at a good time with this story because this story was not funny like Ronald Dante. And so every time I tried to research it, I was like, damn.
I also want to say this because you've mentioned it a couple times. Yeah. I kind of guessed we were having a little mentee bee before you texted me because you had the number of sassy texts I had gotten from you significantly drops at the start of it. And sometimes it's like, and I mean, you get it. Like we get busy with our jobs, your lives or whatever, right? And it's just like the last 3 days have been too busy for friendship, right? But when it's been like a week, I'm like,
something's wrong.
Someone's been a little radio silent. And if she didn't live with a partner who loved her, I would have swung by already.
I would have taken her phone and taken her to Kansas City.
So crazy. They had Subway at lunch today. Anyways, I hope you like
that would have been so fucked up of you.
I hope you like a very cold meatball marinara. Let's chat. You open it up. Where are all the fucking meatballs? Don't ask questions. I'm here to help you. Enjoy the bread.
It's just a damp sandwich with Prego and pigeon. How did we get here?
Because I love you.
That's how I am with like Maddie and them. I'm like, it's been a second.
Mm-hmm. How are things?
You good? No, that's Maddie and I have a language now. We send each other game pigeon games when we think the other one's not doing so hot.
We in the group text between the three of us continued that little thread of doing things. Great, I saw all those already. Amazing. Of doing the Les Mis quotes that are not Les Mis.
So funny.
Where?
That was the beginning of my depressive episode.
Oh.
I
didn't know that. I'm sorry.
What? Oh, no, it's fine. No.
Do you hear the people singing the song of please just ask me a question, my God. It is the music of a people who will not talk again. I unmatched us.
Did she like come out of a hinge date or something? To life. Yeah, it actually really did.
There's a lot that actually ends up happening in that.
I dreamed a dream of 3.2%.
Hers, and yet still I dream he'll marry me so we can buy a house together. Good. I don't know if did we give them enough heads up as to what that was about?
Yeah, we talked about it last week.
I meant on this episode. I feel like I just jumped into that right away.
You can say it again, actually.
No, I don't remember. Oh, Maddie. That's the whole thought process was just trigger. Maddie, what a gift.
Yes, honestly.
So, hey,
we're going to get toasty and go to the symphony in a couple weeks.
I thought you meant us right now. And I was like, girl, I got work in the morning.
So do I.
I love you, but I really can't.
You're so lame these days.
I have drank half a bottle of wine. I have to switch to water so I can drive home later. Find us on social media. Write into us, wellilaughed@gmail.com and or wellilaughed.com. Next episode is red-handed.
Well, the next episode is listener episode, and then the next theme is red-handed. And I'm very excited for that one. It'll be a fun one. It'll be a happy-go-lucky, I hate the government one.
Both of ours are actually going to shockingly be happy-go-lucky, I don't trust institutions.
Yes! Oh, that's so good.
We're both covering the Louvre heist.
Shit!
Competing book reports.
Wait, now I'm worried. It doesn't matter. I do my story first anyway. Fuck you.
You can find more content of this quality on Patreon. And you can, of course, ask to hear from us directly on Cameo.
Oh, why? Cameo.
I don't know. Again?
I told you.
And I work like a dog day and night.
We're recording tomorrow. Let's record it tomorrow.
Good, because I only have
enough for Patreon.
Amazing. Now. Hey, bye. No, I'm kidding. Thanks.
Rate and review. Okay, bye. Love you.